Mag shook his head with a smile as he listened to their praise. Of course, he wasn't a genius. Geniuses didn't have to study sleeplessly and restlessly for 100 days to master how to cook Rugiemo. He couldn't have done it without the system and his diligence. Their compliments made him feel good, though. This feeling of being recognized was much better than when he had been blindly admired or criticized in his previous life. This Rugiemo is so good. Is there anything else on the menu other than rainbow fried rice? Jaoi picked the menu up as he was waiting for his second Rugiemo and opened it with great expectations. He was a little startled when he found only 2 dishes on it, and the price made him gasp. Yangzhou fried rice, 600 copper coins. La Ji Rugiemo, 300 copper coins. They are so expensive. Harrison smiled. If we were at other places, even 10 gold coins wouldn't buy anything this good. Besides, it can help us lose our weight. It's a bargain at this price. The fatty in red nodded. Yes. Even if it's 30 gold coins each, I will definitely have 2 more today, he said, putting down the bag unwillingly. You are always careless with money. This Rugiemo is divine, and you're worrying about its price, the one in Cyan asked with surprise. His other friends were all looking at Jaoi with a confused look. 300 copper coins is totally worth it. It's so delicious and can help lose weight. Besides, Jaoi is in charge of 2 forges himself, he can make at least 200 gold coins a day, and normally, he is always willing to pay for his friends. Jaoi waved his hands immediately. It's not that I think it's not worth the price, he explained in embarrassment. It's my wife. She's pregnant and getting paranoid about me having another woman, so she only gives me 3 gold coins every day. I acted like that because I can only afford to eat 1 today. You always show off your wife. Now it's payback time, the one in Cyan said with a gloating smile. I'm curious, though. Do you really have another woman? Harrison asked, teasing him. No need to ask. He is a henpecked husband. He doesn't even dare to look at other women. Having another woman is out of the question, the one in red said with a twist of his mouth as if he had seen through everything. The fatty in green nodded merrily. How wise of me to have rejected the marriage my father arranged for me the other day. You're just jealous of me having a wife. She gave me 3 sons. And she's pregnant again, Jaoi said, smirking, his voice full of love and pride. Then it's probably a boy again, and you like girls, Harrison said as he spread his hands, exposing the harsh truth. Shut up. If it's a boy again, I'll make my 4 sons pick up your daughters and sons. And then you'll know the true despair, Jaoi said to Harrison solemnly. Harrison waved his hands in fright. Please don't. You win. It's a girl. It's definitely a girl. Keep your naughty boys away from my future daughter. Then you have to show some sincerity. Lend me 10 gold coins. Jaoi held out his hand. Harrison pushed his hand away with a smile. Just eat your fill. I'll pay for your check. We're brothers. Thank you. But I want to order some food to go for my wife. She doesn't have any appetite these days. I'm supposed to stay home with her today. You said there was good stuff here, so I've come to see if there is anything she can eat. I can't let you pay for that. Jaoi gave an embarrassed smile, still holding out his hand. You are a hell of a man, Jaoi. Your wife is micromanaging you, and you still want to buy her food. Harrison was a little moved. He pulled out a dragon coin from his purse and gave it to his friend. It's nothing. She almost lost her life giving birth to our first kid, Jaoi said as he took the coin. I tried to talk her out of having another, but she knew I wanted a daughter. So we had another, and then another. Now the 4th one is still in her belly. I'm lucky to have a wife like her. I deserve to be struck by lightning if I go find another woman. He smiled. When he was done, his friends remained silent for a while. They had known each other for years, so naturally they had known about this. Although they often laughed at him for being a henpecked husband, they all quite respected his wife. Harrison nodded. Then this Rugiamo is not a good choice. If she ate this, the baby might come out today. That would be very bad. Buy some Yangzhou fried rice for her. It's mild and has some nourishing effect. Maybe it's good for the baby too. All right. Then I'll buy a plate of Yangzhou fried rice for her. It's the same thing as the rainbow fried rice, the little girl said, right. Jiaoi took a look at Amy, who was sitting behind the counter. Harrison nodded. Yes. But I don't know if you can have it to go, he said, hesitating. Rugiamo is easy to bring along, but it would be strange to walk with a plate of fried rice in hand. Owner, can I have a plate of Yangzhou fried rice to go? Jiaoi asked as Mag walked out with Rugiamos. To go? Asked Mag in surprise as he put the Rugiamos on the table. Some customers who were in a rush would eat the Rugiamo on the road, but no one had ordered fried rice to go. He had to buy some boxes from the system. Jiaoi nodded sincerely. My wife is in the 6th month of her pregnancy and doesn't feel like eating these days. My friend said your Yangzhou fried rice is very good, so I'm thinking about bringing some for her. Maybe she'll like it, Jiaoi said with no certainty. He knew some restaurants didn't offer food to go. He is a good husband, and a good husband deserves to be respected, Mag thought as he looked at Jiaoi. He asked the system, can pregnant women eat Yangzhou fried rice? The ingredients of Yangzhou fried rice are pollution-free. Anyone can eat it, the system answered calmly. Then it paused a moment. But La Rugiamo isn't fit for pregnant women to eat. Mag was relieved. Then make me some to-go boxes. Use the same trademark as the bag. It would be best if you could make the style of the boxes match the bags. Brown should do. Make it so that people can remember it at first glance. Please take me seriously, the system said solemnly. The bag is 5 copper coins each, so I'll give you 10 copper coins for a box, said Mag, paying no mind to the system's complaint. The system paused for a moment before it said, 20. Then, it added, you can make 300 copper coins from selling a plate of Yangzhou fried rice. Subtract 20 copper coins for the box, and you can still make 280 copper coins off it. I will design the box like a top designer and paint the trademark like a top painter, and the materials will be environment friendly and automatically degradable. The box can be reused many times. 5. Mag retorted airily. System, I'll bet you that he would be happy even if I just let him take the plate, and he would return it washed and dried. Remember, I don't have to use your boxes. And the profit of 300 copper coins off one plate is not much. Okay, deal, 10 copper coins each, the system said hurriedly, grievance and helplessness in its tone. Producing to-go boxes. The first batch will be ready in 5 minutes. Good. Mag was happy with the efficiency of the system. Smiling, he said to Jiaoi, sure. But you have to pay an extra 20 copper coins for the packing. Jiaoi thought for a short while. 20 copper coins? All right. I'll have 1 plate of fried rice to go, then. Mine doesn't need to be packed, he said as he nodded. Normally, restaurants wouldn't charge extra for packing. But I've already spent 600 copper coins on it, so another 20 won't make too much difference. Money is no issue as long as it's as tasty as this Rugiamo and my wife likes it. Mag nodded. Please wait a section. Mag turned to walk towards the kitchen, ignoring the system's shouting. He was much better at making money than he had thought, it was just that he had been lazy in his previous life. Jiaoi and his friends were eating the second Rugiamo now, enjoying the tasty food and the shaking of their body fat. The shaking fat was unpleasant to the eye and made many new customers watch with fright. The enjoyment and happiness on their faces, though, seemed to have been amplified by their fat mugs. The live commercial of their faces was making the new ones wonder what food was making them act like this. They couldn't help ordering one despite the high price. Many new consumers had stayed because of them. 5 minutes later, the system told Mag the boxes were ready and in place. Mag was cooking Young Joe fried rice. He looked back and saw a bigger iron box beside the one holding the bags. Inside was a neat pile of brown wooden boxes. After the rice was done, Mag went over to the boxes and picked one up. It was thick as cardboard, but much stronger. There was a layer of clear plastic inside. It looked so fresh and clean and was leak-free. On the box cover were 2 golden words Mamie Restaurant, below which was a simple drawing of Amy's cute back. In the lower right corner was a small line of words, it was the address of the restaurant. It was simple yet exquisite. It would have made a nice bowl if it had been thicker. Mag nodded with satisfaction. Good. It matches the restaurant very well. The system's work was of high quality as always. One such box should be worth a lot more than 10 copper coins. Nonetheless, he was not sorry for the system. It accepted my offers so quickly, so obviously it's still making money. These boxes didn't have the words Young Joe fried rice on them, so Mag could totally use them for other foods. Mag moved the fried rice from the wok to the box. The colorful fried rice was still very pretty inside the box. 1 Reggiano and 1 packed Young Joe fried rice. Please hold it like this, Mag said as he put a Reggiano and a box of fried rice before Joey. Thank you. Joey's eyes lit up when he saw the exquisite wooden box. Other restaurants would usually put the food in a simple jar or something, but this wooden container is like a gift box, just as if it had been made by a skilled craftsman. Such a beautiful box only costs 20 copper coins. Perhaps it costs more than 20 for the owner to make a box like this. Joey had felt it was a little expensive, but now he felt he was getting the better end of the deal. When my wife sees this beautifully packaged food, she may feel good too. Joey couldn't wait to take the food home to his wife. Both the Young Joe fried rice and Reggiano taste better while hot. And this Reggiano is not fit for pregnant women, Mag reminded Joey when he was holding the Reggiano in one hand and was about to pick up the box with great caution. Joey nodded. I see. Thank you, Mag. I'll pay for this Young Joe fried rice and Reggiano. My friends will pay for the other 2 Reggianos for me later. He held out the dragon coin to Mag. I'll pay for the rest, Mag, Harrison said. 9 gold coins, Amy said as she walked over to Joey with Ugly Duckling in her arms, holding a gold coin. Joey put the dragon coin on Amy's hand and took the gold one. You're very helpful, little owner. I have a boy, he is of similar age to you. I'll bring him along next time to play with you, he said, smiling. Amy shook her head as she took the dragon coin. I like little sisters, but you don't have any. Joey's smile froze on his face. He felt wounded suddenly and didn't know what to say. Ha ha ha, his friends were laughing their butts off. Mag could barely hold back his laughter. Amy told the truth. She prefers to play with girls, only she put it too bluntly. Maybe this time it's going to be a girl. Bye, Mag, little owner, Joey said as he pulled himself together and regained his confidence. Then, he turned to his friends. I'll get going, then. I'll treat you guys next time. Just go. But I think you'll have to wait in line to buy food for your wife every day from tomorrow, Harrison said with a smile, waving his hand. The fatty in Cyan nodded. Agreed. It would be great if we could eat all kinds of delicious food at home. The one in red sighed as Joey walked out holding the box carefully. You can't afford to hire a cook like Mag, the one in green sneered. The fatty in red shook his head. No, I mean if the owner could find someone to deliver the food to our house, I will be willing to pay extra. They're talking about takeaways. Mag stopped when he was about to go to the kitchen, the look on his face became a little strange. Mag smiled, shaking his head. Otako like takeaways no matter the world they live in. He used to eat at restaurants, but he had also ordered a takeaway once or twice. He hadn't posted any comment on his takeaway on the microblog in case some people might retaliate his order had given away where he had lived. Besides, because of the delay caused by delivery, the texture and taste would change. It was not fair to judge a restaurant based on its takeaways. He might have a vicious tongue, but he wouldn't depreciate a restaurant based on stuff like that. After all, he had to eat bad food because of his laziness, and that was why he didn't like takeaways. Moreover, modern takeaways were relying on the instantaneity of information exchange. Customers could order a takeaway over the phone or different apps and make a deal with the restaurant directly. The level of technology wasn't high enough here, so the takeaway business was just a pipe dream for them now. Mag himself had no plan of doing the takeaway business anytime soon. He had to focus on the urgent mission of getting 1,000 customers. But if I have to hire people to deliver food, those out-of-job desperate nights would be perfect. They have a horse and are familiar with the roads in Chaos City, Mag muttered to himself as he entered the kitchen. The lunch hours were very busy. Mag politely turned down a few customers who were a little late. Rigiamos had been sold out, and he was rather tired. Mag breathed a sigh of relief as he closed the door, sinking into a chair. "Father, we've sold 96 Rigiamos and 24 plates of Yongzhou fried rice this noon. That comes to 432 gold coins, Amy said delightedly to Mag, holding Ugly Duckling in her arms. So much? Mag was taken by surprise. That means we have earned over 200 gold coins this noon. We made more than 100 gold coins during breakfast hours, and the earnings may double during the 4-hour dinner time as long as we have enough Rigiamos. Even more to his surprise, he had 40 new customers more for lunch. He saw the possibility of completing his mission. Now he had got 215 customers. Amy nodded. Yes. Father's rainbow fried rice and Rigiamo are so good, they couldn't resist them. She crouched down to put the kitten on the ground and walked over to Mag. You've been working so hard, Father. Let me pound your back for you, she said quietly. Amy stood on tiptoe to pound Mag's shoulders and back with her small fists. She was too little, so it was not easy for her. She was trying hard to do it well. Mag smiled and lowered his shoulders, enjoying Amy's pounding. Although she was a little mean to others, she was very obedient and caring before him. Apparently, she got her vicious tongue from her father. There was nothing else for him but to forgive her. All right, Amy. I'm feeling much better now. Mag lifted her up, put her on his lap, and pinched her soft, delicate cheeks. The improvement in her diet had put color in her cheeks. She wore clean clothes now and often washed her body and hair. The brat in shabby linen clothes had completely become a little princess. So, naturally, she would be targeted by many evil-willed men. Mag decided to teach her some basic skills to detect deception in case his cute, innocent daughter was kidnapped. Krasu had come again this noon, but Mag had been busy cooking and serving, and Amy had been collecting money, so he had sat there for over an hour without getting to exchange many words with them. After he had eaten 2 plates of fried rice, he had been asked to leave on account of opening hours again. Of course, Mag had done it on purpose. He was not pleased at all with him wanting to take Amy to that Magus tower. Besides, Mag had already made it clear that he wouldn't let Amy go there, but the old man was pretty persistent. He should count himself lucky that Mag didn't ban him. Amy, I'll ask you a few questions and tell you something. Think clearly before you answer and remember my words, okay? Mag said with a smile as he looked at Amy. Amy nodded meekly. Okay. She stared at Mag curiously. What does father want to say? He seems so serious. If a stranger came up to you and said he would take you to eat something good, how would you reply? Asked Mag as he looked into Amy's eyes. Great. Amy said as she clapped her little hands, her eyes brightened. Mag didn't know whether he should laugh or cry. He had seen that coming. Good food was irresistible to foodies. Mag straightened his face and shook his head solemnly. no. Remember, Amy, no strangers would take you to eat something good. Besides, who is a better cook than father? Amy nodded. Yes, father cooks the most delicious meals. After she thought for a moment, her eyes lit up. Then I'll ask him to eat in our restaurant. This way he will have to pay for me. Mag lifted an eyebrow. She is quite smart. Who would have thought she would answer like that? Mag felt like praising her. Then, he asked, if someone wanted to take you to a wonderful place. Amy nodded in delight instantly. Great. The look on her face indicated that she wanted to leave right now. Mag shook his head immediately. No, no. That's not the right answer. Having to stay at the restaurant almost all day long made Amy yearn to go outside. She was at an active age, so it was important for her to know when someone was deceiving her. Mag gazed at Amy, and said solemnly, you can play with other children or teacher Luna, but if a stranger wanted to take you somewhere or show you something fun, you must say no, because father has all the fun stuff. They are all lying to you. Really? Amy asked doubtfully as she looked at Mag. Mag gave a serious nod. Yes. Then, he asked in his mind, System, I believe you have toys for kids, right? I'm a god of cookery cultivation system. I don't have toys for kids, the system replied angrily. Then I guess I'll buy some on the street, said Mag bluntly. Well, the system sounded a little hesitant. It paused for a moment. I don't have any right now, but I have a toy production line. What do you need? I can have it made in 5 minutes. Free delivery and reasonable price. I'll have to see the price first, Mag said as his mouth twisted, his voice still calm. Then he smiled at Amy. Would you like a toy, Amy? I can conjure one for you. Amy cocked her head to one side and thought for a while. Then her eyes lit up. I want a little guy who can sing. The first thing that came into Mag's head was Lilliput. System, I don't suppose you traffic in human beings, he asked subconsciously. Trafficking in human beings violates the second rule that the god made for me. I'll be reset and you'll be killed once I do that, the system said seriously, its voice mechanical and without emotion. Take it easy. I was just joking. Make a pretty music box for me then, Mag said quickly. He had wanted a Thumbelina or something, but obviously that was out of the question, so he bit back the words. It seems the system has to follow rules too. That reminded Mag of the 3 laws of robotics. It was not a bad thing. It meant the system would still be under control and wouldn't cause any trouble even if it gained self-awareness. Mag was already thinking about how to trick the system into telling him those rules. Taking advantage of the system was so much fun for him. Now he was not confident of beating a normal human, let alone an orc or a demon. To be sure, he could totally hide behind Amy, but he wasn't very proud of it. A father should be able to shoulder all the hardships for his children. That was why he was trying hard to make money to buy strength. When he was capable of picking up his sword again, he could deal with almost anything that got thrown at him with the swordsmanship in his head. After all, Mag Alex had slaughtered dragons. He and his sword had feared no one. It wouldn't hurt if I could procure something from the system to protect us while I improve my strength. I would feel safer, Mag thought. I have 500 different types of music boxes for you to choose from. Prices vary from 50 copper coins to 500 gold coins. The system now sounded like a seasoned businessman. Mag looked through the music boxes that had appeared in his head. The one that was priced at 500 gold coins was made of pure gold, and inside it stood a golden little man. Too extravagant. Amy won't like this one. He looked down, and one that was priced at 50 gold coins caught his eye. It was a brown wooden box with a hemispherical glass cover inside which was a blonde elf girl in a purple dress. She was playing on a violin. It was very well made. From the look of it, it should be able to simulate snowing as there was a layer of white particles on the ground. It could play 50 songs, and the price was relatively reasonable. I want that 50 gold coins one with a violin girl in it. Make that one for me, Mag said. You will pay 50 gold coins for that one, the system asked, incredulous. After all, Mag had haggled with it over the price of to-go boxes for a long time, but now he didn't even think twice before spending 50 gold coins on a music box. Mag knew what the system was thinking. Of course. I'm willing to pay anything for Amy. Then he added, I want to see it in 5 minutes, or I'll demand a refund. Making the music box. It will be ready in 5 minutes. The money has been deducted automatically, answered the system quickly. Mag had done all that in his head. He was a man of action, so it had only taken him a minute to make this deal with the system. Amy thought her father was considering her request, so she reckoned she was asking too much. Father, I don't need a singing little man. I love anything from you, she said quietly, shaking her head. Her thoughtfulness made Mag want her to be a little stubborn sometimes and made his heart ache. He shook his head with a smile. But father wants to give you a singing little man, a very pretty singer. Just wait a little longer. This magic needs time to work. Really? Amy's eyes brightened and she became expectant immediately. It must be a very fun toy. She had no doubts about her father's words. He had said he would conjure up a beautiful house for her, and now she had a pretty restaurant. He had said he would give her pretty dresses, and now she could wear them every day. Her father had delivered on all his promises. Mag nodded. Then, he said solemnly, while we're waiting, I have one last question for you. If a kid said he liked you, what would you say? Perhaps every father who had a daughter wanted to know the answer to that question. Nobody liked the idea of their daughter marrying some punk. Although Amy was only 4, it was never too early for her to know this stuff. He would protect her from those boys until she grew up and developed an integrated worldview and could tell right from wrong. That was one of the reasons why he wanted to regain his strength. Those boys had to think twice before making him, a dragon slayer, their father-in-law. They had to consider if they were able to stand a blow from his heavy sword. I don't like those brats, Amy said as she crossed her arms like a grown-up. Then she looked up at Mag and her sweet smile returned. I'll marry father when I grow up, she said cheerfully and seriously. Father has magic powers, can cook tasty food, and always tell me stories. Father is the best. There is no one better in the world. Mag nodded in contentment. No answer could be more reassuring right now. She had no idea what marriage was, so he was happy that she was relying on him. When she grew up, if some punk wanted to get anywhere near her, he would teach him a lesson. It was his responsibility. But right now, it was too early for him to think about his son-in-law. Now Mag felt so much relieved. He didn't know how to raise a kid, so he had to deal with the problems when they arose. One other thing. Call me Dad instead of Father. You can call me Father in formal settings. Normally, just call me Dad, Mag said after he thought for a moment. To Amy, Mag was the most important reliance, her only reliance. He would weather any storm for her, so she addressed him formally to show her respect. However, there was a touch of distance in that address. He had long since felt that way, only Amy had been a little abasing herself, so he hadn't brought that up to trouble her more until now. Now she was pretty confident for her age, so he took this opportunity and brought it up. Actually, Mag preferred Amy to call him Papa, but people didn't say the word Papa in this world. He didn't want to inconvenience Amy, and had to settle for Dad. Dad. Amy gazed at Mag, a little confused. She had been looking at her father as the most incredible man who could do anything, so she addressed him Father. She hoped her father would love her and protect her forever. Now it seemed her father didn't like her calling him Father. Dad does seem more intimate. Amy wrestled with herself for a while. Then she looked at Mag and nodded. Okay, Father. It's all right. You'll get used to it later. Mag smiled and stroked Amy's hair. Obviously, it was impossible for her to adapt to the change right away, but the change was going to occur slowly yet surely. He wanted to be more intimate with his little girl and become somebody she could completely trust and rely on. The music box is ready. It took 4 minutes and 30 seconds, the system said. It's in the second compartment in the counter right now. I offer a free packaging service. Do you need it? Of course, Mag answered without thinking. Unwrapping the package was a lot of fun, and a good gift could be made better by a decent package. More importantly, it was free. This stingy system was giving a service for free. That was a first. Amy, if you remember my words, I'll give you a gift, Mag said, smiling. Amy's eyes brightened. Is it a singing little man? Mag nodded. Yes. It was not a living man, but it was definitely unique in this world. She said happily, Amy will remember it all. Fast she realized what she had just said and stopped suddenly. Meow, Ugly Duckling had been padding around the chair while they were speaking. It crouched on the floor and looked up at them, wounded by them ignoring it. Amy hopped down from Mag's lap and crouched to lift the kitten up. Be good, Ugly Duckling. Father will give us a singing little man, she said, stroking its head. Meow, meow. The little kitten really enjoyed Amy's stroking. It stared at Mag curiously as if it, too, was interested in the toy. After the system said the packaging was finished, Mag rose to walk towards the counter. There, in the second compartment stood a gift box wrapped in purple paper, with a big bow on the outside. It was very girlish. He liked it. Amy and her kitten looked at Mag with excitement, wondering what the singing little man would look like. Mag took the box out. It was fairly heavy. He turned to show it to Amy. Wow, it's very pretty. Father, the singing little man is inside the box. Amy asked as she walked over to her father, her eyes shining. Open it and you'll see. It's my gift for you, Mag said with a smile. He put the box on the counter and didn't mind that she addressed him father again in excitement. Thank you, Dad. Amy climbed up the long-legged chair and put her cat gently on the counter. She stared at the gift box for a while and looked up at Mag. Dad, this box is so beautiful, I don't want to break it. Mag smiled. He had never thought that Amy would be in a predicament because of this pretty gift box. He stroked her head. It is beautiful, but it's just a box for containing the singing little man. It's waiting to become your friend. Amy's look became determined instantly. It must be very frightened. Okay, I'll save it right now. Then she said to the box apologetically, Sorry, little box, I have to tear you open to save the singing little man. Under Mag's guidance, Amy removed the packaging paper and lifted the cover carefully. Finally, she saw the music box. The base was made of solid wood, brown and classic, with 2 beautiful Chinese red buds carved on it. On top of the base was a hemispherical glass cover, in the middle of which stood a blonde elf about 10 centimeters tall. She had long eyelashes and vivid eyes and seemed lifelike. Every string on the violin was distinguishable. A layer of small white balls was lying on the ground to simulate snow. It was exquisite and totally worth 5,000 copper coins. Wow, such a beautiful little elf. Her blue eyes went wide and were shining in excitement. Meow, meow, Ugly Duckling crawled closer and tilted its head to one side to look at the elf, its eyes filled with curiosity. It raised a paw and attempted to touch it, but then caught sight of Amy and stopped, looking cute and amusing. Amy watched for a while. But, Father, can she really sing? She asked as she turned to look at Mag. Sure. You just need to push this button here. Looking at the 2 excited little things, Mag pressed the little button on the side of the box. Suddenly, the edge of the music box was lit up by colorful light. After the light flickered twice, the elf girl started playing the violin. She opened her mouth and melody began pouring out. A little girl goes to collect mushrooms. She carries a big bamboo basket, and leaves in the early morning barefoot. Sigh loyal loyal lee sigh loyal loyal lee sigh. The familiar tune startled Mag. He had thought the system would use the songs from this world and never expected to hear a little girl with mushrooms. It had been translated into the common language of this world. I was a lively song, pleasant to the ear. This music box was truly ingenious. Not only could the little elf sing and play the violin, she could rotate. Her dress danced with her, and the whole thing looked very lovely. System, you are not worried that I may become a famous children's song singer here with these 50 songs? Mag asked in his mind. You're not able to sing in tune, so it's out of the question for you, the system said calmly. Mag didn't know what to say. The system really knew a lot about him. Then he looked at his daughter and smiled again. It doesn't matter. Maybe I can't, but my daughter can. There's a 50% chance that your daughter is just like you, the system retorted. You don't need to worry about that. She has clearly inherited all the good genes. She'll learn this song in less than 3 days. You'll see, Mag said confidently while looking at Amy. Elves were very versatile. They were blessed with a long life, so they had a lot of leisure time to do things they liked. Most of them were good at singing, dancing, drawing. The sudden sound scared the kitten. It jumped back with a cry. Mag deftly caught it, otherwise, it would have fallen down the counter. Ugly Duckling hadn't fully recovered from the fright. It stared at the little elf for a while and slowly backed away, wariness written all over its face. Amy's eyes were fixed on the music box and became brighter by the minute. After the song was over, she turned to Mag, and said excitedly, "This little elf is a great singer, father. Is she for real? Can she sing other songs?" Mag nodded, smiling. "She'll be Amy's little friend from now on. She's not a real person, but she can sing a lot of songs for you. Let's just stick to this song right now, and after you've learned this song, we'll hear the next one, okay?" He didn't want Amy to just listen to them, he wanted her to learn them. He was pretty expectant to hear Amy sing. Mag Alex hadn't been able to sing in tune, either. Amy had heard Luna sing 1 or 2 songs before, and she could hum a little after she had heard it several times. Apparently, she liked to sing, she just didn't have any chance to learn. Amy nodded delightedly. "Okay. Amy loves singing. I'll have Mushroom Fairy teach me." She touched the music box and felt very satisfied. Mag raised an eyebrow. Mushroom Fairy? A strange name for such a cute elf girl. But, Dad, Mushroom Fairy just mentioned lollipop in the song. What's a lollipop? She said she would share it with other kids. Is it delicious? She asked curiously. Mag nodded. Yes. It's pretty delicious. But I can't conjure one for you right now, he answered regretfully. There was one incredible fact about foodies: after they heard a song, they might not recall the lyrics or tune, but they would definitely remember the food in it. The system had told him that it would not sell lollipops unless he unlocked new recipes. Mag was aware that the system was very inflexible when it came to recipes. It might be because of the rules, so he gave up. Nonetheless, there were candy-making shops on the Aiden Square. If Amy wanted to eat lollipops, he could ask them to make some. Perhaps he could even cooperate with them and sell lollipops in this world. He might change the world dominated by soft sweets here. Oh! Amy was a little disappointed, but her smile returned when she saw the music box on the counter. She stood on a step of the long-legged chair, wrapped her arms around Mag's neck, and kissed him on the cheek. "Thank you, Father, for this singing mushroom fairy. I like it so much," she said merrily. Smiling, Mag gave Amy's head a stroke. "I'm glad you like it. I'll go clear the dishes and do some preparations. If you're tired, go upstairs with Ugly Duckling and sleep for a while." He was very satisfied because Amy liked his little gift. Amy nodded meekly. Okay. But I want to listen for a while longer. Mag changed some settings so that the music box would play a little girl with mushrooms over and over again. He turned to clean the restaurant as Amy rested her chin in her hands, staring at the music box. Customers had really increased these days, and so had his workload. He had to process ingredients, receive customers, take orders, cook, serve, and clear the table, all by himself. It was really hard for him. To be sure, young Joe fried rice could nourish his body, but the repeated work had exhausted his mind. He had to find a diligent worker as soon as possible. When Mag was done cleaning the restaurant, Amy was already asleep on the counter with the music on. The kitten was slowly moving towards the music box, staring at the elf with an alarmed look on its face. It was both curious and scared, trying to get a closer look. "Sleep upstairs, or you'll catch a cold." Mag took a glance at the jumpy cat, dried off his hands, lifted Amy up softly, picked up the cat, and went up the stairs. "Meow," Ugly Duckling scratched Mag's hand with its little paw in discontentment, but its claws were not long enough, so its scratching was more like stroking. It looked at the music box, unhappy. It had mustered up all its nerve to get so close. Just before it could reach it, it got taken away by Mag. After he put Amy and her kitten on the crib and tucked them in, Mag went downstairs to prepare ingredients for dinner. He stopped at the counter and put the music box in the compartment again. It came in very handy when he wanted his little girl to sleep. Mag decided to make 128 rigiamos this evening. The dough needed 2 hours to be well kneaded, making it more urgent for him to improve his strength. If he could increase the strength by 0.5, the kneading time would be halved. While kneading, Mag thought about his future plans. He was having a pretty comfortable and happy life with Amy now, but fathers always wanted to give their daughters a better life. The restaurant was all he had right now, and he would always rely on it. It had brought him recognition and respect, as well as money. He felt happy doing this business. His restaurant was running smoothly and had new customers every day. It wasn't packed with customers yet, but he was already busy enough. He was close to the goal of selling 1,000 rigiamos. At this rate, he needed only 2 more days. Then he could unlock tofu pudding and add it to his menu. The thought of tofu pudding made his mouth water and made his kneading hands feel stronger. "Father," Amy said at the door with Ugly Duckling in her arms after Mag had finished kneading, her eyes still drowsy. The kitten slid down along her dress by itself. Although it was only a few days old, it was very energetic. The little does seemed to have charged it up. It started running and jumping happily in the kitchen. "Sit. I'll bring you a glass of water," Mag said with a smile as he turned to look at Amy. When he was about to reach for the glass, the frolicking kitten suddenly bumped into his feet. It froze on the spot right away and looked up at Mag for a little while and fell on its back, motionless. It looked at Amy with watery eyes, face aggrieved. An accident scammer." Mag couldn't refrain from laughing as he saw this. This little rascal, that was an Oscar-level performance there. It has given up on being a master and is trying to start an acting career. "Ugly Duckling, I saw what happened. Don't get up if you like the floor. I won't hold you anymore if you get dirty," Amy said solemnly as she looked at the cat. "Meow," the cat got back on its feet with agility. It cast a sullen look at Mag and ran back to Amy, rubbing itself against her leg. After Amy drank her water, she went to play with the music box along with her kitten. She must have inherited her mother's musical gift since she could hum along with the song after she heard it only a few times. It seemed she could learn how to sing it in a day or two. Her sweet and childish voice was so cute. Mag took a look at the time. It was only 4:30, but some customers were already looming outside. Now and then, they would peer into the window to look for Mag. They knocked at the door sometimes, but Mag ignored them. It was too early to open the door, Besides, he wanted to have some rest. He had to make supper for themselves. People outside were starting to line up, about half a dozen. Some were calm, but others were becoming restless. Why is it still not open? I didn't have any lunch and came early to eat Rigiamo. A young man walked back and forth anxiously. He wanted to knock on the door, but drew back his hand again. Someone had done what he had attempted to do, and there was no response. Calm down. No need to rush, Crassus said slowly. The owner here is very punctual. He won't open a minute earlier than 5 and won't cook for you after 9. Be patient, young man. Crassus' smile couldn't hide the sulkiness in his voice. He was a 10th tier magic caster, and now he had to wait in line every day in front of a restaurant. This would become breaking news in Rodu. If it were not for the young Joe fried rice and the little girl, I would never come here, thought Crassus. He was lucky that he hid for a dozen years. Now, even in Chaos City, few people could recognize him. He didn't have to lose too much face. Mag's Rigiamo is worth the effort. You can't find it anywhere else, Harrison said, grinning. He had invited his friends to come with him, but they were all busy. He was also a little busy this evening, so he came here early. A carriage stopped near the people. Harrison, you're so early. You came alone? Jaoi said as he came out of the carriage, a little surprised. They're all busy this evening. I've got some business to deal with as well, so I arrived early, Harrison explained. Then, he asked curiously, the young Joe fried rice, your wife liked it, I hope. Jaoi handed a dragon coin to him. Here, a dragon coin. Then, he smiled, and said, she didn't like it. She loved it. She hadn't eaten much for several days, and she finished the whole plate. Not even one grain of rice was left. And she asked for more. So I'm here to buy some for her supper. She has decided to eat the fried rice for her every meal. Harrison took the coin and patted his friend on the shoulder. All thanks to Mag. She's giving you more pocket money now. Jaoi nodded, smiling. Yes, but I can't hang out with you guys for a while. I have to stay home with my wife. Harrison gave a nod. Right. Then I'll drink more. After he had some rest, Mag made 2 plates of young Joe fried rice and put the baiji bread in the oven. During supper, Ugly Duckling gave a sorrowful look again, staring at them with longing eyes. It looked so melancholic that even Mag wanted to give it some fried rice and Rigiamo. But before he could say anything, Amy's vicious tongue had already made it look away as always. After Mag cleared the table, it was just 5 o'clock. He opened the door and was stunned out of words. 24 people were waiting outside. They formed a very long queue. Their faces lit up when they heard the door open. The long queue had drawn a lot of attention. This corner on the Aiden Square had only unusual shops, like magic potion shop, forge, etc., so nobody would come here unless they had to or they were just strolling. People had never seen such a long waiting line before any shop or restaurant, so they were pretty intrigued. The grand restaurant and the expectant faces made them curious. What does it sell? The owner has so many customers just waiting outside? They wondered. What was more surprising was that these customers were waiting quietly. People who knew each other might talk to one another in a low voice now and then, but unlike other restaurants, they were not very restless and impatient. This atmosphere and their expectant faces gathered some onlookers. Although they didn't join the long line, they stayed. They wanted to find out what this restaurant had to offer. Mag was startled by the long queue. He had never thought that so many people would come so early. Besides, the queue had managed to attract over 20 spectators. He was not very confident that all of them would become his customers, but there was a high chance that some would. Oh, finally! Mag, I've waited for a half hour, the young man standing at the head of the line complained, though his eyes shone with delight. We follow the opening hours on the signboard here. You can come when it suits you. Now, come in, please, Mag said with a smile, holding the door open. There was no apology on his face, though. He was not prepared to compromise on opening hours. He needed enough time to rest and prepare. Moreover, if this rule were broken, he would have to open earlier and close later again and again. That was the last thing he wanted. He didn't like the idea of losing his rest day. The young man nodded. I know. It's the rule. I'd like 2 Rigiamos please, he said as he walked in. He had seen Mag and Amy eating inside and found Mag a little unreasonable when he didn't let them in. That being said, he had to forgive him on account of the tasty food. After all, he would never eat anything this good in another restaurant even if he waited for one day. Krasu walked up to the door and smiled. Mag, have you given any thought to sir? Please come in and place your order first. We don't want to make the ones behind you wait for too long, do we? Mag interrupted with an impeccable smile and a perfect excuse. No, Krasu had no choice but to bite back his words and limped inside, leaning on his staff. When he saw Amy, who was playing with her kitten at the counter, his eyes brightened again. He hurriedly walked to the table near the counter and seated himself. Good evening, little girl, he said to Amy, smiling. Amy raised her head and took a glance at Krasu. Good evening, white-bearded grandpa. She caught sight of his staff, which had a sapphire at the top. Is that a magic staff? The one that every magic caster has, she asked curiously. Yes. And it's not a normal magic staff. Apart from performing magic, it could be used to hit my enemies. I have hit a dragon's head with it once, Krasu answered with a smile, gently running his hand along the staff. Suddenly, he found himself missing the old times. When he was young, his fearlessness had won him the nickname Mad Magic Caster, but this renown seemed to have all but faded. Good for you, Amy said indifferently as she stared at the sapphire. Obviously, she was more interested in the shining gem. Krasu had intended to brag about his past, but Amy's indifference really put a damper on his speech. He gave an awkward smile and stopped talking. At least he had found an opportunity to talk to Amy, so he wasn't in a rush. This little girl must have many interests, and I only need to find one to coax her into leaving with me. He turned and saw Mag walking in. Mag, I'd like 2 plates of Yangzhou fried rice. Please serve them up separately. Mag nodded. Okay, please wait a section. He turned around and went into the kitchen. I just taught Amy to detect deception this noon, and now this evil-willed Krasu wants to trick her into becoming his disciple. He can be used to assess my teaching's results. If I have overlooked something, I'll make it up with Amy later tonight. All the customers had entered, and still the restaurant was not full. That was the benefit of a larger restaurant. There were 16 tables and each was able to seat 4 people, so it could accommodate up to 64 customers at one time. Many customers were sitting alone, few were sharing the table with strangers. They had no choice but to share their table when there were more customers. Out of curiosity, many onlookers came in as well, but when they saw only 2 dishes and their high prices, most of them shook their heads and left. The owner here must be out of his mind, the ones that had left thought. 600 copper coins for a plate of Yangzhou fried rice? Many people have to work for days to earn that money. Others who had some coins in their pocket stayed, but didn't place their order right away. They had planned to wait and see the food first. A man's voice rang out. Mag, I've brought my own chair. Can I come in? The door was pushed open and a demon stuck his head in the door. Some customers were startled, and some were looking at him with alarm. Lava demons were known for their grumpy temper, and this one was surely not a good-tempered one. Big bald head, don't be so loud, or I'll set you on fire, Amy said sullenly as she looked at Sargeras. She didn't want him to frighten the customers. Sargeras gave an apologetic smile right away. He remembered all too well the sting of her little fireball. He had earned 9 gold coins from his quests today. He didn't want to cause any trouble, because he needed the Rigiamo here. So, he lowered his voice. Mag, the lava demon was like a sheep in his restaurant. Mag wanted to laugh. Never thought he would bring a chair. Maybe he was a little scared by the $10 chair. He walked to the kitchen door and nodded. Sure. Come in. SAHDR opened the door, walked in with a humble iron chair, and took a seat by the door. He opened his mouth to order food, but the sight of Krasu choked off his words. His eyes widened. Isn't that? SAHDR bit back his words as he gazed at Krasu, and cringed. He had seen a magic caster defeat a dragon outside of Rodu, and he had heard him shout that he would batter the dragon's head with his staff. And now that magic caster was waiting to be served here in his white robe. He could only see his profile back then, but he had recognized him at first glance. He was in awe of powerful humans. He felt he could also fight a dragon after he got to another level and procured the weapon under the holy lake, but he might have to eat a lot of Rigiamos first. He had to find quests in the guild and make money to eat Rigiamo every day. The owner here is indeed much stronger than he seems. Such a powerful magic caster is eating in his restaurant, SAHDR thought. He felt fortunate that he hadn't made any waves in the morning. Mag, I'd like 3 Rigiamos, he said to the owner. He had only eaten 1 Rigiamo for breakfast and several wild fruits in the swamp for lunch. He had killed a dozen poison dart frogs and felt famished right now. The quest's payment was only sufficient to pay for 3 Rigiamos. He needed a lot more. He had to go to the guild early tomorrow to seek quests with better payment. Mag nodded. All right. Please wait a moment. SAHDR moved the wooden chair aside. His iron chair only had several bars and a round plate, simple yet firm. Seeing that he was using it to eat Rigiamo, it should be difficult to burn. Mag was not very worried that he would burn the floor or wall, because he hadn't left a mark on the floor in the morning. It seemed the system had built this restaurant with some pretty good materials. The floor is made of rocks from the bottom of Santonia, an active volcano which is the holy land of the lava demons, the system said proudly. The material was processed by sanding, polishing. The floor has high heat resistance. The wall is made of synthetic soundproof material, which has high hardness. A coating using the same material as the floor has been applied on the surface, so it also has good heat resistance. Then is the wall strong enough to keep out dragons? Mag asked as he lifted an eyebrow. For a while, the system said nothing. The restaurant is designed to deal with normal problems. You should try not to provoke a dragon if you cherish your life. Aren't dragons normal in this world? System, you need to work on your construction ability. Mag sighed regretfully. Mag hadn't expected too much from the building, though. However, if the walls were extremely strong, he could use his restaurant as a fortress. Please don't underestimate me. It's just that you haven't upgraded the restaurant. It's still LV1, the system said seriously. Mag's eyes lit up immediately. The restaurant has levels? How to upgrade it? More missions, he asked eagerly. It's more interesting if it could be upgraded. Maybe I can turn it into a fortress after all. Spend 50,000 gold coins on anything except ingredients, and then the restaurant will be upgraded to LV2, answered the system. Mag was taken aback. You money grubber. He had thought that he might have to do some missions. Turns out I only need to pay to upgrade. But 50,000. What a rip-off. After you've upgraded it to LV2, you'll be given a chance to change the restaurant for free, and you can unlock many other things. Go for it, the system said. I don't have enough money, Mag said with a twist of his mouth. He was still trying hard to save 10,000 to buy his strength. He wasn't able to procure 50,000 anytime soon. Anyway, he was pretty happy with the restaurant now and was in no rush to upgrade it. Mag started serving customers in the order of their entry. The bread loaves were almost ready in the oven, so he served Rigiamo first. After he put the second batch of baiji bread into the oven, he began cooking Yangzhou fried rice. Many customers came very early these days, so Ma Bai was not always the first anymore. Although he lived next door, he was busy forging weapons every day. He arrived shortly after it had opened and ordered 2 plates of fried rice as usual. "Little girl, can I buy you something to eat?" Krasu smiled as he looked at Amy, trying to lure her with good food. Amy's eyes brightened. "Okay." Then she shook her head. "But I'm already full. You can buy me something tomorrow. You'll pay for me, right?" "Sure. I'll buy you anything you like," Krasu said with a big smile. She is a little foodie. She can't resist good food. I can easily check her magic talent as long as we are alone. Maybe I can even use food to make her come with me to the tower. Ma Bai studied Krasu with narrowed eyes. Then he took a look at Mag, who was slaving away in the kitchen. "I have to warn Mag later." Amy nodded happily. "Then I'll eat breakfast after you arrive in the early morning. Just pay for my food. I like my father's cooking. It's the best," she said with an innocent smile. Krasu had planned to show off the tasty food in Rodu to intrigue Amy, but now he felt like he had played himself. Then he found she had a point now that he thought on it. He hadn't found anything good to eat for years in the whole Rodu, let alone Chaos City, but Mag's fried rice made him want to eat it for every meal. It wasn't a smart move to offer to buy the owner's girl something to eat. Now that he had played himself, he had to live with it. "Right. Then I'll come here and pay for you tomorrow," he said with a helpless nod. Amy nodded. "Thank you, white-bearded grandpa. It felt so good to get paid when you ate your own food at your own house." Ma Bai froze for a minute and almost laughed out loud. He looked at Amy and found his worry was completely unnecessary. She isn't easily tricked. Other customers were all gazing at Amy with interest. "This little half-elf girl is so cute and talks in a funny way. She often makes people speechless, but it's very amusing to watch." Krasu refused to give up easily. He thought a moment, and then his face lit up. "I can show you something interesting, like dancing snowmen." He snapped his fingers and many thumb-sized white snowmen jumped down from his hand. They started dancing in a ring on the table. 5 white little men formed a little ring and waved their hands to dance on the table as if they were dancing around a bonfire. They immediately caught people's eyes. It was naturally very magical to normal people. The reason why humans could live on this continent was because of intrepid soldiers. Besides them, powerful magic casters were also definitely worth mentioning. In the war among species, they had turned a losing war into victory more than once. After the war, the royals of the Roth Empire held them in high regard. They had built a Magus Tower to welcome all the powerful magic casters. They held a high social position in the empire. So, humans were in awe of them. Although Chaos City was not under the administration of the Roth Empire, humans were still living peacefully here with the powerful country behind them. Other customers were looking at Krasu with respect as the old man in robe performed his magic. Then they took a look at Amy. Such an interesting magic. This little girl must love it. "Can your snowmen sing?" Amy asked as she shrugged, watching the dancing little men. She wasn't quite impressed. Ugly Duckling also took a look, and then it drew back its head disappointedly, boredom written all over its face. "Sing." Krasu was taken aback. "I can make them do more difficult tricks, but sing? I got beaten by my master many times for failing to articulate spells," he thought as he watched his dancing snowmen. Then he shook his head with a smile. "They have been conjured up by magic. They can't sing." Amy's question made other customers widen their eyes in surprise. She's not happy with that. It's asking too much to make them sing. They were conjured up by magic, it's just impossible. The old man has said it himself. Amy shook her head. "But mine can. Besides, your snowmen are ugly," she said as she looked scornfully at those faceless snowmen before Krasu. The old man was unconvinced. Your little man can sing and dance? No, that's impossible, he said, shaking his head. The looks on other customers' faces said they didn't believe Amy, either. It's impossible, unless there is a hidden Lilliput on this continent. Mag made a faint smile in the kitchen. He was pretty satisfied with his anti-deception teaching, and felt happier now that his little girl was getting ready to flaunt her new toy. Well, I guess I'll have to show you, Amy said helplessly. She crouched down, took the music box out, and put it on the counter softly. Behold, the singing little girl father has conjured up for me. They all craned their necks to get a better look. The moment they saw the music box, their eyes lit up immediately. It's so pretty, exclaimed a girl not far from the counter, her mouth slightly open. On top of an exquisite wooden box was hemispherical crystal glass, inside which stood a fair elf holding a musical instrument. It was so beautiful that they couldn't avert their eyes. Whoa, the looks on their faces were almost the same. It was not a shining toy, but the sight of the transparent crystal cover that had no impurities whatsoever was enough to make them gasp in wonder. He used a piece of crystal glass to make a toy for his daughter. Talk about spoiling! That's simply unimaginable. Now the dancing snowmen before the old man were a little ordinary compared to the elf in a purple dress, and even their lovely dancing had become a little silly. Krasu took a look at the music box. He didn't conjure that up. He was very confident because there was no trace of magic wave around it. Looks like he lied to his girl again. But he didn't expose his lies. He wasn't averse to his ways. He understood it was not easy for a man to raise a child alone. It can sing? Krasu asked in doubt. There's no magic wave, so obviously that puppet elf can't sing or dance. They were all gazing at it curiously. It's absolutely stunning. She said it could sing. We'll wait and see. Of course. Amy pushed the little button on the side. Colorful light around the edge flickered, and then the melody started. A little girl goes to collect mushrooms. The elf girl started playing the violin while rotating. She looked so lifelike as if she were real. That's impossible. Krasu's eyes widened as he watched the little elf. He could sense trace amounts of energy wave, but he was sure it was not magic. If it's not magic, how can this puppet girl sing and dance? He had said so confidently that Amy's toy couldn't sing, but she could not only sing, she sang very well, like a bird, as if a real elf were singing merrily. He became a little embarrassed. He had lived for quite a long time and hadn't commented much since he passed 100. Who would have thought that he would strike out here? If his hide hadn't grown thicker as he grew older, he might have taken off his robe and sunk into the ground with shame. It was so embarrassing. He lowered his eyes, wishing this little episode would blow over. They wouldn't embarrass an old man too much, I hope. It really can sing and sings so beautifully. Is this a child's song? Why haven't I ever heard it before? The girl nearby said with surprise and doubt as she listened to the music. It's a merry song, and the words are encouraging kids to work and share. It should be one of the popular songs. It's strange that I don't know it, she thought. Amy turned it off. White-bearded grandpa, Mushroom Fairy can sing and dance. Aren't your snowmen a little dull? She asked seriously, looking at Krasu. Now they were all staring at Krasu with strange looks on their faces. It was not very decent to laugh at an old magic caster, but Mag couldn't refrain from smiling, because the old man had fared so miserably against Amy's toy when he tried to impress her with his magic. Now how would he respond to her question? SAHDR's shoulders shook wildly in his effort to hold back his laughter. He covered his mouth to smother his voice, but still a snort of amusement came bursting out through his nose without his permission. He might have guffawed if he hadn't known better. The customers nearby glanced at the demon who was easily amused and had terrifying laughter, and changed their seats to stay away from SAHDR even if they had to share a table with strangers. Despite his thick hide, Krasu gave a dry smile in abashment as he felt the stares. When he was about to say something to put an end to this awkward moment, Mag put a plate of fried rice before him. "Your young Joe fried rice," he said, smiling. Krasu's eyes lit up immediately when he saw Mag. "Mag, how did you conjure up such an interesting little elf?" he asked. He was using Mag to shift their uncomfortable gaze. Besides, he was indeed very curious about this toy. "It shouldn't be magic, because I can't sense any around it. But if it's not magic, how can it sing? It's impossible for it to move by itself," Krasu thought. Other customers were afire with curiosity by then. They were all staring at Mag, wondering. Who the hell is he? Not only can he cook, he is able to conjure up such an exquisite toy. Is he really a powerful magic caster? This is not usual magic. There are other things involved. It's difficult to explain in detail. I'm afraid maybe you can't understand, Mag answered. You might be right, Krasu said, feeling a little despised. Yet when he opened his mouth, the words would not come. He found Mag might have a point. He had been dealing with magic all his life, so he knew little about other things. Even his social skills were awful. As such a powerful magic caster, he should have had geniuses lining up at his door asking to become his disciples, but in fact, he had to travel long and far to look for a disciple at such an old age. To make matters worse, he had been ridiculed for his effort to check a restaurateur's daughter's talent. Seeing that the old man didn't intend to ask more questions, Mag turned to walk towards the kitchen. He had prepared many mechanical theories for his questions. Although they were just something he had learned in college, it should prove more than effective to impress the people here. He had graduated from one of the top 20 engineering universities in the world. Amy gave Mag a sweet smile, quite proud of herself. Mag looked down at his greasy hands and didn't stroke Amy's hair. He smiled back, eyes full of fondness, and went into the kitchen. Amy's response had been impeccable. She had done everything Mag had taught her and more. She might have made Krasu doubt himself. Harrison looked at Mag's back. Magic caster or not, Mag is incredible, he said as he took a bite of his Rugiamo, his fat shaking. Agreed. Jaoi nodded, his fat shaking as well. I wonder if Mag will sell that. Parmer would be happy to see it, he muttered, staring at the music box in spite of himself. Other customers took a glance at the two fatties, whose fat were dancing wildly, and nodded thoughtfully. Mag is truly incredible. Sargeras managed to hold back his laughter. He felt even hungrier. Once he would have shouted at the owner and threatened to smash the restaurant, but today, he was waiting patiently. After all, even a 10th-tier magic caster had to suck it up here. He might be grumpy, but he hadn't got into any big trouble journeying 50 years on this continent. He was pretty reasonable, actually. When other customers were enjoying their meals and stopped paying attention to him, Krasu took several bites of his fried rice and gazed at Amy, who was stroking the kitten's head while staring at the little elf in the music box. He started scheming again. After he thought a moment, Krasu looked at Amy and smiled. Little girl, what we have just talked about doesn't matter. What really matters is that someday bad things might happen, whether they be an act of God or an act of man. At moments like those, the powerful ones can protect themselves and their loved ones. I, for one, have such power. Do you not want to learn magic to protect the ones you love? Amy thought for a moment and turned to look at Mag in the kitchen. I want to protect my father, she said, with determined eyes. Meow, cried out Ugly Duckling as it lifted its head, trying to remind Amy of its existence. You're not included, Amy said, pushing its little head down. Meow, meow, the kitten cried out disappointedly in a soft voice as if it had been wounded. That's right, said Krasu, nodding with a smile. If you want to protect someone, you have to be powerful yourself. And you will be if you learn from me. He was trying to make himself look like a kind, reliable master. Although he had said some similar words yesterday and got rejected directly by Mag, he really wanted to make sure whether or not Amy had the talent. If she was really talented and fit to be his disciple, he would do his best to gratify Mag's requirements. He would be dead in several years, so there was little he cared about. Amy nodded. I think you're right. But before Crasso could smile, Amy added doubtfully, but white-bearded grandpa, you can't even walk with ease. You can't protect yourself, and you want to teach me to protect my father? Protect him from whom? Kids like me. Well, the look on Crasso's face became odd again. What's going on in her head? Why is she not like other kids? Besides, do I look like I can only protect his father from kids? Crasso raised an eyebrow. He had fought an orc when he was only 18. He had smashed his staff on the head of a giant dragon when he was 24. It was a weak green dragon, though. But he was at his peak after all. He would never harm a child. If you don't trust me, you can use any magic on me. I'll just sit here and won't move, Crasso said confidently as he slapped his chest. Crasso and Amy's conversation once more caught others' attention. Some customers had seen Amy use her magic on SAHDRs. Even a lava demon was almost burnt by that little fireball, and now the old man will just sit there and won't move? Maybe he shouldn't let his guard down like that. Do you see the small purplish gold staff on his robe? If I remember right, only those who serve the Roth Empire have that on their robes, said a middle-aged human male, who was dressed like a businessman, in shock. He was staring at the old man's left shoulder, on which a pinky-sized staff in purplish gold was embroidered. Yes. This old magic caster serves the Empire, said his dinner companion, a little surprised as he gazed at the emblem. It was the highest honor for a human magic caster. No one dared to impersonate one. The people nearby overheard their words. They all looked to Crasso's shoulder. Most of them might have not seen a magic caster who served the Empire before, but they had heard many stories about them. After Alex was killed in battle, for so long the army of the Empire hadn't seen one griffin rider who was able to kill a dragon by himself. These years, when evil dragons attacked towns and cities of the Empire, more often than not, those magic casters serving the Empire would show up to fight them with their powerful magic. They brought peace to the people and earned more of their love and respect. They were all 8th-tier magic casters and above. They were very powerful and had done much for the Empire. If this white-robed old man serves the Empire, then he is at least an honorable 8th-tier magic caster, the customers thought. He is a senior magic caster that should be respected by most of his peers, but he got made fun of by Amy several times. Judging by the words he said, he probably wants to take Amy in as his disciple, but apparently she's not very interested. Since when is it so hard for an 8th-tier magic caster to find a disciple? They wondered. Amy is little and doesn't know much, but Mag owns such a multicultural restaurant, so it's impossible for him not to recognize that purplish gold staff. Mag's calmness after Crasso implied his intention surprised them even more. Maybe that old man isn't good enough for Mag. Maybe he is a more powerful magic caster, they thought. Now that they had figured out who the old man was, they felt they could see the result of his little game with Amy. He is a royal magic caster, and she is a restaurateur's daughter who can barely walk. They are utterly different in social position and power. Amy can't possibly hurt him even if he doesn't move, they thought. He is clearly above the 8th tier if he can beat a dragon with a fireball. He's reached the 9th tier. Or the 10th, SAHDRs thought. He still remembered the scene outside of Rodu as if it were yesterday. The look on his face became a little strange when he saw Amy. But even a 10th tier magic caster might suffer if he took her fireball lightly like I did in the morning. Her fireball is small, but its power is huge. Its temperature is even higher than my flames. She has such an incredible talent at such a young age. If I were a magic caster, I might want her to become my disciple as well. Crasso's request really intrigued Amy. White-bearded grandpa, are you serious? She asked incredulously. My fireball might make you kick the bucket. Yes. Little girl, don't hold back, and don't worry about me, Crassus said confidently. If I can't stand your fireball, I guess I can only fight little children from now on. Amy's worry warmed his heart. He was even happier now that he knew Amy could use fireball magic. Turns out she can use magic despite her 2 bloodlines. She's trainable. But I have to see her magic first to assess her talent. Actually, I just don't want to burn the chair and table, said Amy, casting a worried look at the table before Crassus. For a moment, Crassus didn't know what look he should use to express how he was feeling. He had never thought that he would be less important than a table and chair. Don't worry. I'll pay for everything you burn, he said disappointedly in depression. Amy nodded. Well, since you have requested so sincerely, I guess I have to grant your wish. Why would anyone ask for this, she said, the look on her face seeming like she were looking at a naughty child. She put Ugly Duckling aside and looked at Crassus. Scream if you can't stand it, she advised. Crassus shook his head. That will never happen. He looked so relaxed, like a real master. Then here it comes, Amy warned, looking at Crassus. She held out her little hand, and suddenly a flame appeared and contracted into a bluish-violet little fireball quickly. She threw it at the old man. Crassus's eyes went wide as he watched the flame. Such pure magic! The fireball doesn't have any other magic elements. It's small, but it has tremendous power. Of course, Amy's fireball was no more than a spark to him, but the spark had ignited infinite possibilities. She's only 3 or 4, and she has mastered the fireball magic all by herself without any guidance. She doesn't need any spells or time to perform her magic, no less. And she has figured out how to throw it out. She is just the kind of genius I've been searching for. Most importantly, he liked this simple and violent fireball magic the best. His fireball magic was the fastest and the most powerful on the whole Norland continent, if nothing else. No one disputed that. After all, he could use his fireballs to fight dragons and send them scurrying away. No other man could do that on this continent. In the split second when he was thinking, the fireball landed on his long beard. It started burning immediately. Shoot! Crassus cried out, startled. He rose hurriedly to his feet and ran towards the door, not caring what he had just said, his beard in flames. The customers had been expecting Crassus to stop Amy's fireball with ease like a master. Instead, they witnessed the old magic caster scuttling towards the door with his beard on fire. The air became a little awkward as a smell of singeing hair permeated the room. Alas, I guess white-bearded grandpa's power can only be used to fight kids, Amy said regretfully like a lonely master, drawing back her hand. She waved at her kitten and was ready to play with it. Ugly Duckling had run to the other end of the counter. After it made sure that no fireball was in Amy's hand, it ran to her and positioned itself comfortably in her arms. The embarrassing silence was broken. Amy and her kitten brought smile to customers' faces. That magic caster might get angry now that his beard was burnt. Mag's restaurant may not be able to stand his anger, they thought. Sargeras nodded contentedly. She shouldn't be taken lightly. Even a 10th-tier magic caster would be taken by surprise. He felt better now because someone else had made the same mistake as him, and that someone else was stronger than him. Mag turned to look in the direction of the door, frowning. He wasn't worried about the old man getting angry, because he had requested it himself, and he had come here to check out Amy's talent. He was worried that if Amy's talent caught his attention, he would come here every day, pestering him. It seemed he was already doing that, though. Anyway, he would never let Amy go to Rodu. Crassus opened the door and rushed out. He pointed his finger at his beard, and a water ball exploded right away. The bluish-violet flame that was burning along his beard was put out in an instant. Water splashed on the ground and his white robe, along with some burnt beard. He cut quite a sorry figure. He should have got depressed and angry. Instead, he was delirious with joy. He tilted his head back and laughed aloud like a madman. Other customers stopped laughing and looked to the door, worried. His beard is ruined. Has he gone mad? If he got angry, he might burn the restaurant to the ground. He doesn't look very stable right now. Has white-bearded grandpa gone crazy? I shouldn't have burnt his beard. I don't know if he can grow it back, Amy said regretfully as she looked to the door. If he can't, I'll have to find a new nickname for him. Krasu's weird laughter didn't last long, because he soon realized he was a little out of control. He straightened his face and reached out to stroke his beard, only to be shocked that it was not there anymore. He looked down and found that his white beard, which had been over 20 centimeters long, was now burnt to half the length. Its bottom had been miserably blackened. He had been growing his beard for decades and maintaining it every day. He strictly controlled its length. Even losing only one hair of his beard would make him grieve for a while. And now, it was ruined. If the person who had done this to him were not Amy, he would definitely smash 3 holes in his head with his staff even if it were a dragon. But it was Amy. Plus, he had asked for it sincerely, and he had assured her that he would be okay. It was his own doing. He could blame no one but himself. He was feeling aggrieved, but what could he do? Then he recovered quickly. Well, I can't blame my precious disciple. She has such a great talent, even if she could only use fireball magic, she would achieve perfection in using it under my guidance. I'll make her my disciple. His heart raced without his permission as he thought about Amy's fireball. He had walked for more than 6 months after he left Rodu and went south, and had seen a number of geniuses, but they weren't exactly what he had in mind. The moment Amy unleashed her fireball, he knew he had found the disciple he had been looking for. The best disciple for him. His smile returned. He waved his hand and used cleaning magic on himself. His robe got cleaned right away, but he couldn't recover his beard anytime soon. He pushed the door open and walked back in. That old man values his beard more than his life, Urian muttered to himself as he stood at his door, watching Krasu enter the kitchen. His beard was ruined, but he was laughing. Looks like the little girl has a better talent than I've expected. I have to act quickly, or she'll become his disciple. I'll rob him of her. That old man always has a discerning eye. The customers had been worried that Krasu would retaliate in fury. They had thought he would at least storm in and shout with anger. So, they were taken aback when they saw the old man walk in with a smile and his shortened beard. He is not mad? Amy watched as Krasu resumed his seat. Before he could say anything, she said seriously, "You don't need to say anything, half-beard grandpa. I think I can teach you how to defeat children. If you truly want to learn, I can give you a discount." SAHDR guffawed despite himself. He was drinking water he had brought along, and the water was coming out of his mouth. A 10th tier magic caster, who could beat a dragon with one fireball, was being ridiculed by a 4-year-old girl, and she was offering to teach him how to defeat little kids. He had never seen anything so amusing in 50 years. Other customers were shocked, and didn't join in his laughing. They were all staring at him. The 2 customers who were sitting at a nearby table moved a little further away from him. To be sure, they also found Amy's remarks amusing, but they knew better than to laugh at a royal magic caster. They didn't want to taste the wrath of his fireball. In the Roth Empire, it was clearly stated in the rules that royal magic casters had the right to punish anyone who insulted them, and wouldn't be charged with a crime. People in Chaos City didn't have to abide by the rules of the Roth Empire. However, once, a royal magic caster had been insulted by someone from another species, and he had killed him on the spot. The Roth Empire had resolutely protected him, and he had left Chaos City safe and sound. White-bearded grandpa had become half-beard grandpa, and he got scorned by her. Krasu had no choice but to bite back his words. He blushed as he thought about what he had just said, and turned to give Sargeras a glare. Sargeras was a little scared, but he couldn't help laughing. He had been holding back his laughter, but Amy's words had completely set it off. He lowered his head to avoid Krasu's eyes and kept laughing with his mouth covered. His shoulders were shaking violently. Never had he seen anything so funny for decades. Half-beard grandpa, don't scare big bald head. If he got angry, he might burn away the rest of your beard. Then you'd become beardless grandpa, Amy warned, looking at the old man. Krasu turned to Amy with a big smile, and said in a soft voice, "It was just an accident. I can use fireball magic as well. And mine is bigger and more your second Yongzhou fried rice," Mag interrupted, putting the plate in front of the old magic caster. "I have told you. Amy is so little, I'm not going to let her leave me to study magic. If she likes to, I'll find her a teacher to teach her here," he said solemnly. Before the customers had recovered from the shock of Krasu's calmness, Mag's rejecting him shocked them even more. Sounds like it's not the first time that Mag has rejected him. She must be real talented if she could make the old magic caster come down off his high horse to try to bait her behind Mag's back. Mag turned him down. Harrison said as he gaped at Mag, mouth open. It would bring a great honor to his family if she became a royal magic caster's disciple. Every year, numerous people went to great lengths to send their children to that tower in Rodu. They were happy even if their children could be accepted only as servants. They were counting on the chance that someday their kids might catch a magic caster's eye. The old man has offered to take Amy on as his disciple, and Mag turned him down because he doesn't want Amy to leave his side. Harrison didn't understand. "I find it very natural. If I had such a cute girl, I'd do the same," Jaoi said adamantly as he looked at Mag. "No one could take her away from me, not even a royal magic caster." "Yes. I will never leave my father," Amy said to Krasu, nodding seriously. "Half-beard grandpa, I can teach you when I have time if you really want to learn. I have to collect money now. I'm very busy." Krasu took a look at Mag, who was so determined, and then at Amy, who had shown great interest in becoming his master. "I think I'd better finish this rice before it gets cold." He picked up the spoon quietly and got back to his fried rice, frowning thoughtfully. He had planned to take Amy back to the Magus Tower to teach her there. The tower had been constantly repaired and improved by the royalty. Other than Elves' secret dreamland, it was the perfect place to learn magic. Those magic rooms would make learning faster. But it seems Mag is very determined to keep Amy at his side. He is pretty wealthy, so money won't sway him. He has excellent cooking skills, but he chose to stay in Chaos City, so he probably doesn't care much about the advantages he might get from the Roth Empire. And he hasn't shown any interest in my magic, thought Krasu. These three advantages he had seemed worthless to Mag. Above all, he loved Amy more than anything. Krasu was a little upset. He didn't know what he had to do to change Mag's mind. Mag took a glance at Krasu, who stopped badgering Amy, and turned to walk into the kitchen. He had been a little worried after Krasu had revealed who he was. After all, he had no chance against such a powerful magic caster. The fact that Amy could burn his beard was mainly because he had been absent-minded for a moment, and because he hadn't taken her seriously. Amy was to Krasu as an ant was to an elephant. Fortunately, Krasu seems quite reasonable. He hasn't forced us to comply with his power and social position. Still, I will never let Amy go to that dangerous tower alone, Mag thought. This little episode blew over after Krasu started eating again. The old man hadn't escalated it, so it was more like a joke between him and Amy. Today's customers had made sure that the owner's girl was a badass. She even dares to burn a royal magic caster's beard. We definitely must pay after eating. Those that had been served became lost in the good food quickly, enjoying the pleasant taste. The inviting aroma and the delighted looks on their faces made many of those that had entered out of curiosity order a plate in spite of themselves. They wanted to try this appetizing dish even if they could barely afford it. Mag put 3 rugiemos before SAHDRs and warned the nearby customers to stay away from him. He didn't want the demon scaring his customers. Sure enough, a ball of flame came out of his mouth after he took a large bite of rugiemo. His lava was burning red, and flames arose from his body. Luckily, he had learned. He was sitting on the iron chair he had brought along, far from the table and the wall. The only part that wasn't on fire was his rugiemo holding hand. Other customers watched him in fright as he wolfed down his food. Mag, I'd like 2 plates of Yangzhou fried rice to go, please. Both my wife and kids like your fried rice, Jaoi said with a smile as he took his second rugiemo. Mag shook his head. I'm sorry, but right now, one person can only have 1 plate of food to go because I have to serve the customers eating here first. More and more new customers were arriving, and he had a mission to accomplish, so he had to limit the takeout food. I see, Jaoi said. He had promised his wife and kids that he would bring supper for them. His wife might come down hard on him if he brought only 1 plate back. 2 of his kids who could already eat had eaten some fried rice at lunchtime from their mothers, Miranda's, plate, and they had pestered him to bring some for their supper. Mag, I'd like 1 plate of Yangzhou fried rice to go as well. Just 1, Harrison said with a smile as he took a bite of his rugiemo, winking at Joy. Mag nodded. All right. Please wait a section. He turned to walk to the kitchen. He had seen Harrison's winking, but it was not against his rules, so he said nothing. It was common between friends, and he understood. After Mag went into the kitchen, Harrison smiled at his friend. Parmer and Parber also like this Yangzhou fried rice, right? He asked. Yes. They like it so much. Even Angus wanted to try it, but his teeth are just starting to grow, so he can only eat eggs. Mentioning Jaoi's children brought a radiant smile to his face. Harrison nodded, smiling. Then bring mine to them. Say hello for me and tell them I'll take them to the stud farm someday. Jaoi nodded. Thank you. I will. They are always talking about your 2 white horses. Then they changed their subject to the stud farm. Harrison's family had invested in a stud farm. He had invited Jaoi to join to buy more horses and enlarge the farm. He wanted to make it big enough for racing horses, like the ones in Rodu. Krasov finished his fried rice quietly. He was a little upset. He hadn't figured out how to sway Mag. He had some old friends here in Chaos City, but he didn't want to trouble them with such an embarrassing problem. Besides, his friends would probably use knife and gold to persuade Mag. He didn't want his precious disciple to learn unwillingly, because he knew very well that learning magic was a dull process even with enthusiasm. Half-beard Grandpa, don't be so sad. I can't come with you to a faraway place to teach you fireball magic, but I can teach you here. You can leave when you have mastered it, Amy said solemnly to Krasu. Whitebeard Grandpa looks so pitiful now that his beard has been burnt by me. He has to use his staff to help him walk, and his magic is terrible. I worry about him. Krasu's eyes lit up while Amy looked at him with pity. He had a moment of clarity. I don't have to teach her in the tower. Maybe Mag will say yes this time. But I'll have to make some alterations to the plan. I'll have them ship some equipment from Rodu for me. The thought brought a smile to his face again. Little girl, may I have the check? He pulled out 2 dragon coins from his pocket and put them on the table softly. Yes, 12 gold coins, please. Amy took the 2 dragon coins and handed 8 gold coins to Krasu. Here, 8 gold coins. She glanced at him, surprised. He feels so happy because he can learn from me. Goodbye, little girl. Krasu took the coins and walked towards the door with his staff, smiling. It may be a little difficult this way, but I don't want to live in that tower anymore. I've lived there all my life. It's not an uplifting place, and he used to call it Coffin Tower, Krasu thought. However, Here, I can almost smell freedom in the air. More importantly, I can get good food and possibly a precious disciple. It's not a bad way to live the rest of my days. Other customers watched as Kraso walked out, wondering. Why did he become so upbeat all of a sudden? SAHDR sat with his head lowered and didn't dare to meet Kraso's eyes. He had thought the old man would reprimand him, but he just glanced at him and left without a word. SAHDR breathed a sigh of relief. He scared the SHT out of me. He glanced back and saw the old man's back. Then he got back to his Rugiamo. He could clearly feel his blood boiling, pounding at his barrier, behind which something he desired was sealed. The impact was not strong, but strong enough to ignite his hope. The possibility that he could get to another level just by eating Rugiamo intoxicated him. If it works on me, then it should work on all the lava demon warriors. Most of them haven't broken through the second barrier, so the effect on them should be stronger. Guess I should come home sometime and bring them here to try this Rugiamo. Then we can form a group to do more difficult quests to earn more money to buy Rugiamo. SAHDR nodded. We've been lying low for years. It's about time we showed them what we're really made of. He thought a moment and muttered to himself, I think I'll call it the Burning Legion. Mag had been busy for the whole dinner time. He stopped taking any orders after 9 p.m. After the few customers finished their food and left, Mag turned over the open sign and closed the door. He let out a sigh of relief. He felt a little exhausted after working for 4 hours straight. He seated himself on a chair by the door and prepared to rest for a while before cleaning. Amy walked over to him and put the kitten on the floor. Father, we sold 305 Rugiamos and 76 plates of rainbow fried rice today. That comes to 1,371 gold coins, she said as she stood on tips of her toes to pound Mag's back. Mag's eyes lit up. Oh, our earnings have doubled, he said happily. Subtract the cost for ingredients, and we've earned more than 900 gold coins. It's indeed a good choice to increase the supply of Rugiamos. Over 50 new customers had come for dinner, and most of them had arrived due to the recommendation of the regulars, others had been drawn in by the busy atmosphere. Now he had got 260 customers. He should be able to finish his mission at this rate. He had sold more than 400 Rugiamos in total, and only needed 2 more days to accomplish this mission. Then he could unlock tofu pudding. The thought of a bowl of steaming tofu pudding brought a smile to his lips. Dad, we've been eating Rugiamo for days. When will you make something new? Amy asked expectantly as she pounded Mag's back. Well, I'll cook you a new dish in 2 days, answered Mag with a smile, stroking Amy's head. He hesitated a moment, and then asked seriously, Amy, do you want to learn magic? Yes. I want to learn powerful magic. I want to protect Dad in case they plan on hurting you, Amy said solemnly, nodding. She reached out to grab Mag's finger. Don't worry, Father, I'll become very strong. Mag nodded, smiling. I'm sure you will. Amy's thoughtfulness made his heart ache. Mischievous kids had often mocked Mag Alex's way of walking when he limped on the road. They had even thrown stones at him. He had tried his best not to let Amy see this, but still she had seen it several times. The little girl had stood before him, crying, telling them to go away. He could still remember it like it was yesterday. Maybe that's when the idea of protecting me took root in her mind. Looking at Amy's earnest and determined face, Mag couldn't help but lift her up, hold her in his arms, and kiss her on the forehead. His nearest and dearest was always putting him first. It warmed his heart and made him feel like crying. Don't worry. Father will become stronger too. It should be me protecting you. You just need to be happy every day, Mag whispered in her ear. I'm not a good father, letting her carry so much. But, Amy lifted her head. Mag knew what she wanted to say. He shook his head with a smile. The day after tomorrow is our rest day. We can play all day. We'll visit Chaos School to see if we can find a suitable magic caster to teach you. Amy's eyes brightened instantly. Really? She gazed at Mag with her big blue eyes, surprised. Then she became a little worried. But I've promised Half-Beard Grandpa to teach him fireball magic. I don't want to be called a liar. Mag shook his head, smiling. Actually, he is a very powerful magic caster. But he wanted to take you to a far away place to learn magic, so I turned him down. You don't have to teach him fireball magic, because he already knows how to use it. Really? But his beard got burnt by my fireball, said Amy incredulously. Mag nodded with a smile. That's because your fireball is very powerful. So, if you have to use it again, first you must consider if he or she can stand it, or they might be roasted, Mag said seriously. He was teaching her to learn to control the power she possessed. Although Amy was still small, Mag was already starting to shape her worldview. He didn't expect her to become a saint, but he didn't want her to grow up a devil, either. Kindness was a good quality, to an extent. That was what he had gradually apprehended after he got transported into this world by God. Anything could go bad without limits. One might escape the punishment of men, yet he couldn't escape the righteous judgment of God. Amy nodded earnestly. Yes, Father. Then she looked down at the little kitten, which was looking up at them. Roasted, roasted, she murmured in a low voice. Meow, Amy's words sent a chill down the kitten's back, and it flinched in fright. Go play with Ugly Duckling. If you're tired, go upstairs and sleep. I'll clean the restaurant. Mag stroked Amy's hair, smiling, and put her back on the floor. Amy shook her head. No. Ugly Duckling, Mushroom Fairy, and I will wait here. She picked up the kitten, climbed onto the long-legged chair, turned on the music box, and hummed along. Suddenly, she looked at Mag, who was wiping tables, and asked, Dad, if I sing for Teacher Luna, will she be happy? Mag nodded, smiling. Of course she will. Amy really liked Luna, but she was too young to be enrolled in Chaos School. Luna had taken the liberty of letting her in many times, though. Mag had planned to check with some teachers in the school to see if they could teach Amy some rudimentary knowledge about magic. Amy had invented fireball magic all by herself. If she didn't know the basic concepts of magic, she might not be able to control this power. He didn't want his precious little girl becoming a rascal in other people's eyes. There was big difference between innocent and wild. Amy nodded. Then I'll study harder. I'll sing for Dad and Teacher Luna, she said solemnly, and started humming along again. A smile touched Mag's lips, and he worked faster. Amy was starting to get used to saying Dad. Although sometimes she still used Father subconsciously, Mag didn't care anymore. Sometimes, he even found the sound of Father a little cute. He decided to let her use whichever she wanted. Mag cleaned the restaurant, marinated some meat to use in 3 days from now, and washed his hands. Amy was leaning on the counter, asleep, with the kitten dozing off in her arms. The music box was still playing, but its sound seemed to have become a little hoarse. Mag raised an eyebrow. System, listen to your 5,000 copper coins worth of music box. What a rip-off. It's broken in only 1 day, he said in his mind. There is no perpetual motion machine in this thing, so the acoustic quality will change when the power runs out. You just need to buy 4 A-size batteries to replace the old ones, the system said calmly. You use A-size batteries for such a fancy music box. It should come with a lithium battery and a charger. Mag complained. He could feel his vicious tongue stirring. In the detailed directions on the description page, it says clearly that the music box is powered by 4 A-size batteries. It's not my fault that you didn't read it. But I can alter it for you if you want. You have 4 choices to choose from, the system said, its voice still calm. Wait, as Mag watched the 4 choices pop up in his head, he felt he had been tricked by the system. He hadn't had time to read the directions, and the system had taken advantage of that. He felt a little annoyed. When he looked through the 4 choices, he could barely hold back his laughter. First, power source alteration. The 4A size batteries will be replaced by a fast-charging ultra-capacity lithium battery. 3 minutes of charging can last the music box 3 hours. If it's fully charged, it can last it 3 days. Sale price, 10 gold coins. Accessories, 1 original charger. Second, power source alteration and clothes. Apart from the same service as the first choice, you'll get 10 sets of beautiful clothes for the doll. You can change its clothes just by pushing a button. Sale price, 20 gold coins. The last 2 ones could even upgrade the music box into a holographic projection device, and their prices were 100 and 200 gold coins, respectively. Mag lifted an eyebrow. System, can I swear? I'd sooner buy a new one. You don't want to do that. If you insult me, you may trigger hidden missions, the system said seriously. Fine. You son of a gun. Mag nodded. He was a little tempted to choose the 4th one, a holographic projection device, and the doll would be able to perform many dances. But the price made him hesitate. I choose the first one, he said at last. Money was of paramount importance right now. Amy was still very interested in the music box, and she hadn't learned the first song, so it wasn't necessary to upgrade it to a holographic projection device. 10 gold coins has been deducted. Alteration is in progress, and will be finished in 5 minutes. The battery will be fully charged after the alteration, said the system. Mag took a look at the counter. The music box had disappeared. I don't need to wait here, since the system will charge it for me. He grabbed the cat, slowly picked Amy up, and walked up the stairs softly. Amy was sleeping soundly. Mag didn't want to wake her up. He put the 2 little things on the bed, and then went downstairs to turn off the light. After he washed up, Mag walked over to the crib. Amy's sleeping face put a smile on his lips. He had never thought that he would get such a cute little girl. This transportation had been meant to be a punishment, but he found it so rewarding now. He had many beautiful expectations and dreams of the future. The restaurant is a start. I'll blend into Chaos City, and then this multi-species world. Mag woke up early in the morning. He kicked off his busy day with preparing ingredients. It was only when he became an owner of a restaurant that he realized how early the restaurants providing breakfast had to prepare in advance, and he didn't even have to buy fresh ingredients himself. Today's business was even better than yesterday. The fact that his Rigiamo could help lose weight was really catching on, so many fat customers came today. The most eye-catching ones were 8 rich ladies. They came together, and their bodies were even more marvelous than those of Harrison and his friends. Mag worried about his chairs when they took their seats. Luckily, the chairs, which were 10 gold coins each, withstood their test. It was quite a view when they ate their Rigiamos. The nearby customers gaped at them, mouths open. It was too good a scene for Mag to look at. Mag, the screen says that the number of days before your rest day is 1. Do you not open tomorrow? A customer asked as he took a Rigiamo from Mag's hand. No, we don't. We have a rest day every week. We've opened for 6 days, so tomorrow is our rest day, Mag answered, smiling. He had lost count of how many times he had answered that question. I see. I guess I can't take my wife and children here tomorrow, he said disappointedly. Then he thought for a moment, and added, your business is so good, and even 1 day means a lot of money. Some customers might not come again if they came here only to find you were closed. Other restaurants open all year long. Can you adjust? He's right. Mag, your food has made me unable to eat anything else. I would be starved to death tomorrow. Mag, we come here every day. Don't do this to us. Other customers echoed his sentiment. They had grown too addicted to Mag's food to let him rest one day. They were persuading and even threatening him. Mag shook his head. You won't die of hunger in one day. It's our rule to have a rest day every week. We only have one cook here, me, and I need time to attend to other business, so we can't open all year long. He rejected them directly. The customers traded unhappy glances. Mag was pretty adamant, unlike other restaurateurs who always worried about losing regulars when taking a rest day. They would stay in their restaurant all day long if they could. They were not as self-willed as Mag. They knew very well that Mag had been strictly sticking to his opening hours. They knew that he wouldn't open a minute earlier even if dozens were waiting outside, and that he wouldn't cook another plate after 9 even if many were still hungry. So, they were just clutching at straws. After the last customer walked out, Mag closed the door and sighed with relief. Finally, he could rest tomorrow. He could understand their wanting to eat delicious food every day, but Amy always came first. He could care less about their unhappiness. They should be grateful that I only rest one day every week, he thought. Today, he and Amy profited almost the same amount as yesterday. It was the best they could do. Now he only needed to sell another 300 Rigiamos to complete his Rigiamo mission. He could do it in one day after the rest. Amy didn't notice the difference in the music box. Now she was able to sing the whole song if she sang along with the elf. She was indeed very talented when it came to music. The next morning, Amy woke up early. She climbed down her crib and got on Mag's bed. "Father, we're going to the school to see Teacher Luna today, right?" she asked, excited. Mag, who didn't have to be woken up by the alarm clock today, opened his sleepy eyes and met Amy's big, clear eyes. She had pulled the curtain open a bit. He glanced at the clock. It was already 8 a.m. He hadn't slept so well for days. Mag nodded, smiling. "Yes, we don't have to work today. We'll go out after breakfast." He sat up, picked Amy up, and tickled her. She giggled. Amy also waved her short arms to try to tickle her father. Their laughter resounded through the house. Meow, meow, the kitten jumped around on the floor. It even tried to rear up on its hind legs to see what was going on, but its short legs were not helping. It cried out unhappily. It had been kicked out of bed again. Mag held Amy in his arms and stood up. "Rise and shine. Time to go. What do you want to wear? How do you want me to comb your hair?" he asked, smiling. Amy thought for a moment. "I want to wear my hair in 2 braids and wear that purple dress with flowers on the chest and the white shoes." "Will I look like Mushroom Fairy?" she asked, looking at Mag. Mag nodded with a smile. "Yes. You'll be more adorable than Mushroom Fairy. You'll be a fairy yourself." He got out of bed, found Amy's little dress, and helped her put it on. Then he did her hair into 2 pigtails skillfully. After days of practicing, he had got really dexterous at handling her hair. Amy still liked the pigtails and showed no intention of changing her hairstyle, so Mag had no chance to show his hairdressing skills. Amy put on her white shoes and spun in a circle. "Father, do I look beautiful?" she asked as she looked at Mag. Mag's eyes lit up. "Yes. You're such a pretty little fairy," he answered, nodding. "She's even prettier than the elf in the music box." Meow, Ugly Duckling walked over to Amy. It rubbed its little head against her calf. It was a little upset because no one had paid any attention to its cries. "Ugly Duckling, the dress would be wasted on you. You won't look any better in it." She sighed, stooping down to pick the kitten up. "Meow, meow," Ugly Duckling lifted its paws up and widened its eyes as it cried out, trying to prove its cuteness. "You look even uglier now." Amy forced its head to one side in disgust. "Meow," the kitten looked away, its eyes watery. Mag shook his head, smiling. Another master would have grown very fond of such a cute orange cat, but not Amy. She is teasing it every day and thinking of it as her future roast goose. Mag washed up, brushed his teeth, and went downstairs. Several customers were leaning on his window, looking inside. Their faces lit up when they saw Mag. Then came the sound of knocking. Mag frowned. "System, do you have any window shades?" He felt he had to cover his window during closed hours. Their watching made him uncomfortable. "You don't have the right to make me change the layout of the restaurant right now," the system said solemnly. "You'll have to upgrade the restaurant to LV2 first. Then I'll change it for you for free to a certain degree. Measure the size of the floor-to-ceiling window for me please," Mag said calmly. "It's 6.5 meters long and 3.6 meters tall," answered the system quickly. Mag nodded. "Then I'd like a right-size window shade and tools to hang it up." "I'll say it again, you don't have the right to make me change the layout of the restaurant for you right now," it said seriously. "When did I ask you to change the restaurant for me? I just want to buy it. Don't be so overzealous in this kind of stuff. Aren't you a respectable food system?" Mag said sarcastically, his mouth twisting. An ellipsis went across Mag's head. "Then," it said solemnly, "I'm a respectable system. I don't have any window shades." 5 gold coins. Mag asked in a calm voice. "I'm a respectable system," the system repeated. Mag raised an eyebrow. 6 gold coins. "If you don't want to sell, I'll buy a bamboo curtain on the street. It's as good as any." His voice was still calm. The system fell silent, seeming to be agonizing over it. After a while, it asked tentatively, "A little more?" "No way." Mag curled his upper lip. "And it calls itself a respectable system. Pay me 4 more gold coins and I'll give you a window shade that best matches the restaurant. It's totally automatic. It will block all the unwanted prying eyes and become hidden when you pull it up. A set of tools will come free with the window shade to help you punch holes accurately. It's very easy to install. I'm sure you'll like it." The system made an enticing offer. Mag shook his head in disappointment. "No thanks. It's too heavy. I can't even lift it up, to say nothing of installing it. I guess I'll go find a better seller who would deliver and install it for me." The system fell silent again. Amy took a look at the people who were leaning on the window and knocking at their door, and didn't understand. "Dad, there are customers waiting outside. Isn't today our rest day?" she asked as she looked up at Mag. "Yes, it is. We don't open today, but they still want to eat here," said Mag, smiling. "Sit, I'll bring you a glass of water, and then make breakfast for us." He turned to walk towards the kitchen. "It's very clear on the signboard. I'll have to explain it to the customers when we leave. They may not be happy to hear it, though." Mag didn't rush to push the silent system. It was impossible for him to install such a big window shade all by himself, however, he would have to explain away the automatic design if he asked for help. It was best if the system would install it for him. Amy turned to take a look at her father. "Why won't they let father rest one day? Besides, we are to see teacher Luna today," she muttered to herself. Then she clenched her little fist and walked to the door with the kitten in her arms. Outside their door still stood a dozen customers. Some of them hadn't heard Mag's explanation yesterday, and others had come here on the off chance that Mag might open because of so many customers coming. Yet it was already past the opening time, and the door was still closed. They saw the rest day countdown on the screen. Some customers left after waiting for a long while. After all, they wouldn't let a breakfast mess up all their arrangements for the day. Those who had come a long way to arrive here refused to leave without their food, so over 10 people remained. They decided to say something flattering or menacing, if necessary to make Mag at least cook 1 Rugiamo for them each. Sargeras was among the crowd. He had been very lucky to find a more difficult quest yesterday. He had killed 3 flamingos and had been rewarded with 80 gold coins. He wanted to use some of the money to buy breakfast because he didn't come across a quest like that every day. Besides, he had been lucky to finish his quest in such a short time. He had to change his plan of eating 10 RGMOs every meal to eating 5. He had heard Mag's explanation yesterday, but he wanted to come here to try his luck before going to the guild to find a quest. He was standing at the back of the crowd and didn't hurry to walk to the door. When they heard Mag's footsteps coming downstairs, they all looked to the door with great expectations. They were hoping their enthusiasm would change his mind. Ding! The door opened slowly. They looked down and saw Amy's long face and the kitten, disappointed. "We don't open today. Father and I are going to visit Teacher Luna. If you want to eat the delicious rainbow fried rice and RGMO, come back tomorrow." Then Amy's face darkened as she lifted her hand. "And if you knock again, I'll set you on fire. I'm very bad-tempered." The crowd became hushed. They looked at one another, and then at Amy, who was holding her little fist up as the kitten curled up in her arms. She narrowed her eyes and pouted her lips to try to look menacing, and they bit back their words when they saw this. "I'd better get going. She looks so cute even when she's angry." Sargeras turned around and left after he glanced at Amy. "Looks like I have to settle for some roasted meat. I'll try to find a difficult quest again today. I have to work hard to earn enough money to eat 10 RGMOs every meal." A girl couldn't help but laugh out. "She is so adorable." Some customers had seen Amy burn a lava demon in a royal magic caster's beard. They knew that the magic caster hadn't got angry and wanted to take her on as his disciple. So, Amy's threatening words worked out pretty well. After all, she even dared to burn a demon, and they were not as strong as the latter. They hesitated for a moment and left when they saw the demon leave without a word. "Mag really means what he says," one customer said. "And it's pretty smart to let his girl handle this situation. I'm very upset, but I just can't get angry. It's so annoying." He sighed, and then smiled. "Yes. I've walked over 20 minutes to get here," another one said. "But it's not easy for him to run a restaurant all by himself. He loves his daughter, so it's quite understandable for him to want to spend more time with her." Several remaining customers, who didn't know what was going on, looked at the adamant Amy, and then at those who had left without hesitation. They paused for a moment and took their leave. Mag smiled when he came out, holding a glass of water. Such a great little helper. He had thought about how to explain it to them to make them feel better, and had thought that it might take him a while to talk them out of eating here today. He had never expected that Amy's threats would save him so much trouble. Amy's smile returned when she turned to Mag. "I have sent them away, Dad. They fear me when I get angry," she said with a look saying she was waiting for her father to praise her. Smiling, Mag nodded. "Yes. Amy is amazing. You've helped me a lot," he said. "The little thing was more cute than angry just now, and those customers have fallen for her cuteness." Amy nodded happily. "Thank you, Dad. I'll help you more." She took the glass and drank some water. Then she looked down at the kitten in her arms. "Father, are we taking Ugly Duckling with us? It's so ugly, it might scare Teacher Luna. Can I leave it at home?" "Meow, meow," the kitten cried out immediately, looking up at Amy, its eyes imploring and unhappy. Mag shook his head. "Ugly Duckling hasn't eaten anything yet, so we'll take it with us and buy some milk for it on our way there," he said. "And I think Miss Field will like it. The kitten is only a little bigger than a grown man's palm. It's a cute little orange cat. Maybe the name Ugly Duckling left a bad first impression on her, so she finds it ugly. But, she has been pretty nice to it these days." Amy nodded. "Oh." Then she turned to her cat. "You must cover your face when we meet Teacher Luna. I don't want you to scare her or those little kids," she warned. Ugly Duckling nodded eagerly, trying to look like it had understood. After breakfast, Mag found the little basket that the herb collector had given him and put the baby bottle and a soft towel in it so that Amy could use it to hold the kitten when she got tired. They could also put in it the things they bought on the road. Then, they left. Mag was wearing a long charcoal grey gown, which was very common in this world. It was somewhat like Hanfa one, only that it didn't have so many layers and was simpler and neater. After all, danger lurked around every corner in this world. It was better to fight and run in something simple and comfortable. Mag's long gown had been made specially by the system. It was a customized one, so it fitted quite well, and the cotton the system had used was much more comfortable than the linen cotton in this world. He cut quite a figure in it, and the charcoal grey color made him look even more mature and responsible. Only the small basket in his hand was a little hilarious. When they walked past the magic potion shop, Amy teased Black Coal and Green Pea as usual. Ugly Duckling was a little hostile to the obnoxious crow, but it wasn't able to jump high enough to reach Amy's knee, let alone the birdcage which hung as high as a grown man's head, so it just growled with anger. Mag nodded at Urian with a smile, and left with Amy. "Father, are we going to the school right now?" Amy asked, looking up at Mag. Mag shook his head, smiling. "No, I have to deal with some business first, and then we'll go to the school." He had some other business to take care of other than finding an employee in a job agency. Amy nodded. Okay. She wanted nothing more than to sing for Teacher Luna right now, but she had to listen to her father. Job agencies were called job finding services in this world. They came into being when Chaos City became prosperous. They had expanded their services from finding workers and adventurers for workshops and guilds, respectively, to almost any professions. One could even find a nurse there. They stopped at a job finding service called Find All Job Finding Service. It was about 20 square meters. On the outside stood 2 oblong wooden boards, on which were stuck several pieces of paper, and on the paper were job descriptions, employees needed, and salaries. Most of the salaries were negotiable. Mag looked through the paper. Workshops were looking for workers, and adventurer groups were looking for special adventurers to do certain quests. The latter should be put up in the Adventurers Guild, nonetheless, they were here. There was a section for job ads looking for waiters/waitresses and nurses. The average monthly salary for a waiter/waitress was 3,000 copper coins, and their meals were free. They had to work from early morning to late night. It was one of the typical jobs that had long working hours and low salary. These job ads were all quite ordinary. However, when Mag shifted his gaze to the bottom right corner, the look on his face became a little strange. Looking for a girlfriend, a succubus or an elf. Daily salary, at least 5 gold coins. Payment is negotiable based on prettiness and skills. Looking for a demon muscleman who looks scary and can withstand the magic attacks from a third-tier magic caster. The scarier, the better. Looking for a handsome, lovely boy, an elf or a human who should be good-looking, thoughtful, and can have S*X with me 7 times a day. Daily salary, at least 10 gold coins. Payment is negotiable based on skills. Mag lifted an eyebrow. What the hell? This agency even goes as low as to look for female and male escorts for its clients? Although it was still early in the morning, this job-finding service was crammed with various species: humans, orcs, demons, and even elves. They were all staring at the wall covered with ads. Every once in a while, someone would call out a number, and then the one that had been called would talk more with a worker here. It seemed they were all looking for a job, and they got along well with each other. A voluptuous succubus walked towards the job-finding service. She gave Mag the glad eye, but Mag showed no interest. She took back her gaze and turned to look at the special section. Her eyes lit up. Hey, I'd like to be this one's girlfriend. I think I can earn 10 gold coins a night, she shouted towards the door. Coming, a voice answered immediately. Then, a middle-aged bald man with a mustache trotted out. He took a glance at Mag and Amy first, and then walked over to the succubus with a smile. Miss Barber, I think you can earn 15 gold coins a night with your skills. Come on in and register. We'll inform the client today, and maybe you can start working tonight." She nodded. "Thank you." Then she whipped her scarlet hair towards Mag and walked inside, wiggling her sweet body. Mag frowned at her cheap perfume. He had seen all kinds of women in his previous life, and most despised those who felt good wearing heavy makeup. His taste in women had changed several times as he aged, but he had never seen attraction in this kind of women. He even found them repulsive. The succubus he had met before was much better, but he wasn't attracted to her. Humph! Amy gave the succubus a wary look and lowered her hand. This white-faced woman even tried to seduce father. If she dared to come closer, I'd let her taste my fireball. "Good morning. I'm Chris, the owner of this job-finding service. Can I help you with anything?" said the middle-aged bald man, smiling at Mag and Amy. The cute half-elf girl startled him. By the look of him, he should be wealthy, he thought. And he has a half-elf daughter. That means he is very wealthy. After all, it's difficult for a man to marry an elf girl, and even more difficult for him to wander around with a half-elf daughter. He must have an outrageous amount of money. "I'm looking for a waitress for my restaurant." At first, Mag thought this job-finding service was a little despicable. Then he remembered he was in a different world. It's nothing compared to the red light districts on Aiden Square. This agency is pretty big, so they should have more resources. Chris nodded. "Do you have any specific requirements?" he asked. "We have 3 kinds of waitresses. We have the ones that are normal looking, work hard, and ask for a low salary. We have the ones that are relatively good looking, work diligently, and ask for a moderate salary. Lastly, the ones that are good looking and ask for a high salary. The good looking ones include 3 species: humans, succubi, and elves. They demand a short working time and a not heavy workload." Mag raised an eyebrow. "So the salary is based on prettiness?" he asked. "The good-looking ones don't need to work hard to get well paid. I guess pretty ones get all the advantages in this world. A pretty waitress can raise a restaurant's earnings by much, especially a good-looking progressive succubus. She will double your profit on drinks, so it's a pretty good investment," he said softly. Then, he smiled, and added, "Besides, many good-looking waitresses don't mind having an affair with young restaurateurs. You can hire another 2 hard-working waitresses to do your work." "Sounds good, right?" Mag shook his head slightly. "Can I look at the relatively good-looking one's files?" He understood very well what Chris meant, but he had never thought about using several voluptuous waitresses to attract customers. He disdained to do that. What he really needed was a very diligent waitress of few words. Of course, she had to be relatively good-looking at least. He didn't want her ruining his customers' appetite. He didn't mind giving her a high salary as long as she could meet his requirements. His business was booming, so an employee's salary was nothing compared to her contributions toward improving efficiency. He didn't need useless but good-looking waitresses. Chris nodded. "Of course. Please come in. Our reception room is on the 2nd floor. You can read their files there. Take your time." He led Mag and Amy into the building. Half an hour later, Mag walked out with Amy disappointedly. There were indeed many applicants, but no one was to his liking. They were either too old or too plain. He wanted his employee to have a vibe that matched his restaurant. He wanted to improve his guests' dining experience. Chris walked out after them. "I'll keep my eyes open, Mag. I'll contact you as soon as I find someone suitable," he said, smiling. "It doesn't seem like he has come looking for trouble, or I would throw him out. He wasted me a half hour." Mag nodded. "Thank you. Goodbye, Mr. Nest," Amy said, waving her little hand. His mouth twitched. "Good. Goodbye," he said, smiling. "What the heck is Mr. Nest?" Mag and Amy went to the market and bought some sheep milk for the kitten, and then he took her to an information collecting shop owned by a human. It was like a private detective agency. He spent 10 gold coins hiring the owner to collect detailed information on Krasua and Urian. Both old men wanted to take Amy in as their disciple, so he decided to find out who they really were first. Mag didn't have time to do it himself. Apparently, it was not a bad choice to hire a professional to do this job. He only needed to sell several Regiemos to earn the money he needed to hire a professional, so why would he do the legwork himself? "Father, can we go to the school now?" Amy asked, looking up at Mag. They had been to 2 places, and the kitten was close to sleeping. Mag nodded with a smile. "Yes. Let's go to the school." He helped Amy put the kitten in the basket. The little thing went out like a light when it touched the soft towel. Chaos School was an educational institution under the Grey Temple. It consisted of 2 sections: primary section and secondary section. Children went to either of the 2 sections based on their age and skills. Students between 5 to 12 years old were educated at the primary section. They would study rudimentary knowledge, common language, arithmetic, etc. Meanwhile, their special talents and skills would also be developed there, like magic skills, observing skills, calculating skills. Prior to entering the secondary section, they would be tested first, and those who passed the test would gain the right to receive further education at the secondary section. If they couldn't pass the test before they turned 12, they would be forced to leave the Chaos School. In fact, 5 out of 6 students would be expelled. After they graduated from the secondary section, most of them would join the Grey Temple. Their skills and loyalty would become the fresh blood in maintaining the governance of the Grey Temple. Mag wasn't averse to this educational system, because every graduate had the right to choose whether to join the Grey Temple or not. Of course, they had to pass another test first. It reminded him of the civil service system in his previous life. The best thing about the Chaos School was probably that it was the first to bring knowledge to the city. The interaction between species had promoted the integration of human language and elf language, and thus the common language had appeared and become widely used. Yet it wasn't easy for other species to master this language, so even Haga, a chief's son, was barely able to use the common language to communicate. The primary section of the Chaos School received over 1,000 students each year, and the yearly tuition was only 5 gold coins, which was a lot less than other schools' tuition fee, at least 50 gold coins a year. Moreover, students from different species studied together in the Chaos School. It was very common for a human child to sit next to a demon, an elf, a dwarf, or a troll, which was a unique scene that one could only find here, in Chaos City. After 100 years of development, Chaos City had achieved peace and harmony, and all of this would be impossible without the Grey Temple and the Chaos School. When 2 people from different species met on the road, they might recognize each other as classmates or schoolmates, so the hatred faded gradually. And the people here had a much higher educational level. They also contributed a lot to the peace here. Mag and Amy were standing at the gate of this large Chaos School, and school was not over yet. An old man and a big orc standing at the gate had declined their request to enter. They had to contact Luna after school, and only then they could enter. Mag took a look at the big clock outside the gate. "Looks like we're too early," he said. "It's 10:30 a.m. The 3rd class isn't over. We have to wait till around 11:30. Amy glanced at the grim-faced orc and tugged at Mag's clothes. "Father, we can sneak in," she said quietly. Mag was taken by surprise. "Sneak in?" Amy nodded. "Yes. There is a secret passage. I have used it many times." 10 minutes later, Mag turned to look at the hole covered by thick tree branches and stroked Amy's head with a smile. "Such a smart girl. I know which classroom teacher Luna is in. This way, father." She grabbed Mag's finger and walked to the left quickly. Mag could see that Amy really wanted to see Miss Field, so he followed her without question. "She has watched from outside the classroom before, so I guess it doesn't matter much." The teaching buildings were built of stone and wood, two-storied, and had walls made of black square stones. The roofs and second floors were made of wood. There were windows in two walls to let in as much sunlight as possible. The sound of students reading came floating out of every building. All the teaching buildings had been painted sky blue and grass green, looking lively and fresh. Some walls had children's paintings on them, paintings of different cultures. Such a harmonious sight. The man who founded the Grey Temple must be quite a visionary. Through these paintings, Mag seemed to see the future that this visionary had pictured. Start from Chaos City, and spread the idea of integration. When the whole continent is truly integrated, the war among species will probably never occur again. This idea coincides with mine. If the whole continent is integrated, the number of hybrids will inevitably increase, and when they become a large part of the whole continent, the discrimination against them will naturally disappear. The thought brought a smile to Mag's face. Maybe I could witness the rise of a new era, and it would be nice if I could give it a little boost. Father, why are you laughing? Amy asked, a little confused. She thought a moment, and said, I know. You're happy to see Teacher Luna too. Maybe you're right. The sound of children's reading put Mag in a good mood. The atmosphere here is really nice. When Amy is old enough next year, I'll have her study here. She'll have a much better time here rather than staying home with me. She has mastered her fireball magic, so I don't think anyone will dare to bully her. Amy nodded. Me too. I'm super excited. Then she put a finger on her lips as she pointed to the building nearby. Teacher Luna teaches in this classroom. Let's get closer quietly. Mag nodded and said nothing. He stepped softly and followed Amy slowly to the window. Below the windowsill were two black rocks. Amy hesitated a moment and stepped on them. Now she was just as high as the windowsill. Mag looked at the two rocks with surprise. Seems like someone put them here for Amy. They're perfect for her, and there are none below other windowsills. Luna's voice came out of the classroom. It was such a sweet and comfortable voice that it could easily attract children's attention. She was teaching the multiplication of one-digit numbers. They didn't have the 9 times 9 table or the decimal system, so it was not easy to do multiplication. Even Mag couldn't understand her method of multiplying 7 by 9. Poor kids. Amy listened attentively, her eyes shining in excitement. Mag stood behind her, listening quietly. It's not cool to disturb her. I should be careful not to make any sound. Meow, the kitten cried out. Mag looked down. The kitten was already awake. It looked up at Amy and cried out a few more times, each time louder than the previous. Damn! The classroom fell silent immediately. Luna looked to the window, thinking that some wild cat had distracted her students. But her face lit up when she saw Amy. She strode towards the door quickly. It's Amy. Hello. Wow, I like your hair, a window seat girl wearing her hair in a mushroom bowl said delightedly as she looked at Amy, her eyes shining with excitement. Shush, Daphne. Don't talk to me or say my name during class, Amy said immediately. Why are you here again? I don't like seeing you here, a demon child said solemnly. On his head was a blade of grass like a mung bean sprout, and his hair was in a mess. Shut up, Ignatsu. Or I'll pluck out your bean sprout again. Daphne said aggressively, glaring back at the little demon. I'm not afraid of you, he replied, but he leaned back. Ugly duckling, stop crying. Or I'll roast you. Amy snapped. The kitten had been afraid of this sentence since it was an egg. It became silent right away, cowering and shivering in the little basket. Mag petted its hair, trying to comfort it. The possibility of getting roasted may hang over its head forever. Luna walked out with a smile, holding a piece of chalk. Amy, you're the sight of Mag holding a basket startled her before she could finish her words. Teacher Luna, I'm here to attend your class and to see you. And I want to sing for you, Amy said to Luna, giving her a big smile. Then she took a look into the classroom and became a little upset. But I seem to have disturbed the class. I'm sorry. I brought her here. And I apologize for the cat, Mag said apologetically as he stroked Amy's hair. Luna was wearing a powder blue dress and the same white silky scarf embroidered with a golden lily flower today. Apparently, she really liked that scarf. Her smile was so gentle when she looked at Amy. Don't worry. The kitten has intrigued the kids. It's been days since you last came here. They all miss you, Luna said, looking at Amy's depressed face and her father, who tried to take all the blame on himself. Then she took Amy by the hand, and added softly, "Come on. Introduce us to your little friend, and sing your song for me and the class." Mag gazed at Luna. Right now, her face seemed to be shining with love and care. Her kind encouragement moved him. She is a good teacher. Amy's eyes brightened. Really? She came down from the rocks, looking at Luna's smiling face full of encouragement. Then she took the kitten out of the basket and turned to Mag. "Father, I want to." Mag gave Amy an encouraging smile and nodded. "Go, Amy. You can do it." Luna glanced at Mag, surprised. It's not very common for a father to be so sensitive to his child. He knows what his girl wants and how to encourage her. The sight of Mag reminded her of the Rugiamo she had had that day, and her heart started racing. Although she had felt a little abashed, the young Joe fried rice and Rugiamo had been really good. If she hadn't spent all her money she had received from home on the kids, she might have tried them one more time. He is such a good cook. She had never eaten anything better before. The thought of the good food made her mouth water despite herself. "Okay," Amy said. Mag's encouragement put confidence on Amy's face immediately. She walked into the classroom with Luna. Mag stood by the window, smiling and gazing at Amy, who was in a purple dress, holding Ugly Duckling in her arms. She was no longer that shabby little girl, and he wanted her to be more confident. "You haven't seen Amy for many days. Did you miss her?" Luna asked the children, smiling. "Yes. I do," Daphne shouted immediately. "Amy looks so different with her beautiful hairstyle and new dress." Ignatzu shook his head. "Not really." But he couldn't divert his eyes away from Amy. "Why is she suddenly so pretty? She's like a china doll." Other kids were all staring at Amy out of curiosity. She used to be so ragged and her hair was always messy. How has she become so beautiful all of a sudden? She is even more adorable than the elf next door. When they saw Ugly Duckling in Amy's arms, their eyes widened in delight. "It's so fluffy, so small, and so cute. I want to hold it and give it a stroke. And it's white and orange, cuter than those black or white cats." For the first time, Amy had received so much admiration and envy. She was nervous, but also happy. They didn't look at her with disgust and pity anymore. She felt so good that she smiled. Luna was also smiling. She had tried to build up her confidence, but every time the little girl got picked on, she got more frustrated and less confident. It's only been a few days. Amy seems to have changed completely, not just on the outside, but on the inside as well. She seems to have become stronger and more sure of herself. She has stopped worrying about her being different from others. No one else but Meg has brought about this change. Why does he suddenly seem like a different man, starting to care about Amy? She wondered. Amy has brought a new friend with her today, and she wanted to sing a song for us, Luna said, smiling, giving Amy an encouraging look. Holding the kitten in her arms, she said, "This is Ugly Duckling, my," then she paused a moment, trying to figure out what it was to her. "Father said it will become a swan when it grows up. Now I think it's my pet." "A swan?" The children became really intrigued. They gazed at the orange cat in Amy's arms, and didn't know what was ugly about this cute cat. "It doesn't even look like a duck." And it will become a swan? Why is it called ugly duckling? Daphne asked curiously. Because it's so ugly, Amy replied directly. Then, she added, besides, it came out of an egg. I've never seen such an ugly duckling. It came out of an egg? If it's a duckling, then it's really very ugly. Yes. It looks like a kitten, though. Weird. No wonder it's different from normal kittens. But it's so cute. Amy's explanation made them quickly accept the idea that ugly duckling was really a very ugly duckling. It's a duckling, but it looks like a kitten, so it's indeed not a good-looking duckling. But it's so cute. Meow. Ugly duckling retorted helplessly. Luna looked at the kitten in Amy's arms. It was so cute and so fluffy that she wanted to hold it too. But she didn't think that it would grow into a swan. Looks like Mag is wrong. I want to sing a song for you and teacher Luna. The children's recognition really raised Amy's confidence. She took a glance at Mag smiling outside the window, and continued, it's called A Little Girl with Mushrooms. I don't think she can sing any songs, Ignatzu muttered in a low voice. Daphne gave him an angry glare, and he immediately fell silent, but he still didn't believe that Amy could sing anything nice. Go ahead, Amy. I can't wait to hear it, Luna said, smiling. A little girl goes to collect mushrooms. She carries a big bamboo basket, Amy sang carefully, holding Ugly Duckling in her arms. All the children were attracted by the merry song and Amy's soft voice. The sound struck love into their hearts and brought merry smiles onto their faces. Mag looked at the little kids lost in her song, and then at Amy, feeling very proud. My daughter is really amazing. This was the first time he had heard her sing the whole song. She had sung unaccompanied, but her childish voice was so pleasant to the ear that he found she sang even better than the music box. Wonderful! Ignatzu exclaimed, his eyes widened, his bean sprout cheerfully waving side to side. Amy's so incredible, Daphne said, resting her chin in her hands. She was extremely fond of Amy. The looks on other children's faces were almost the same. They were very surprised at Amy's sudden change. Then their surprise changed into envy and admiration. She's really incredible. Luna was also taken by surprise. Such a good song. But why have I never heard it before? Is it a local children's song? She had thought that Amy would sing a song that she had taught her, and never expected to hear a tune that even she didn't know. She couldn't help but take a glance at Mag. Did he teach Amy this song? After she had finished, Amy looked down at the children, abashed and expectant. She didn't know how she had performed. Bravo! Ignatzu said, clapping his hands. Then the other children cheered and clapped. Amy smiled happily. It was the first time that she had been recognized by so many people, and they were her peers, no less. She felt so delighted. Luna nodded, smiling. Yes. Amy sang very well. Thank you, Amy, for your excellent performance. Amy nodded cheerfully. It's my pleasure. Then she saw the problem on the blackboard. She hesitated a moment. Teacher Luna, I know the answer to this multiplication problem, she said, looking up at Luna. Luna froze for an instant. Yes. She took a look at the 7 times 8 on the board. I have just taught them how to do this multiplication today. It's very complicated, and only few who are good at arithmetic have learned how to do it. Amy was not here these days, so it's impossible for her to know the answer. I don't think so. It's very difficult. Only I know how to do it, a little boy in blue and white said from the first row, pride written all over his face. I find it easy, Amy said solemnly, gazing at the boy. I don't believe you. Solve it if you think it's easy, the boy said defiantly. Only a few can do it, and she said it's easy? I don't believe her. Other children had similar looks on their faces. She can't do it. Only teacher Luna and a math genius like Parmer know how to solve such a difficult problem. Mag found their sudden argument surprising and amusing. Amy has already mastered the 9 times 9 table, so it's very easy for her to solve this problem. It's about time they felt the power of the 9 times 9 table. Luna wanted to say something to lighten the atmosphere. Amy has just become confident, I don't want her to get back to her old self. The answer is 56, Amy said calmly, looking at Parmer. Did she get it right? The children wondered. Luna hadn't told them the answer yet, so they all looked to their teacher and Parmer. Parmer rose quickly to his feet. How? How do you know? He looked at Amy and then at the answer on his exercise book, shocked. Amy gave a slight nod. By calculating. The answer is 56. Luna was no less surprised than her students. I know Amy's studying progress better than anyone. There's no way she can solve that problem. But she gave the correct answer without having to use paper and a pen. Did he tell her the answer while they were outside? She wondered. Great! Amy has got it right! Daphne exclaimed, smiling happily. Ignazio gazed at Amy with a strange look on his face as if he were seeing her for the first time. How has she become as clever as Parmer all of a sudden? After Luna told them the answer, the looks on the children's faces changed instantly. We don't know how to do it, but she only needs to take a glance to know the answer. She might be even cleverer than Parmer. I don't believe her. She must have got lucky, Parmer said. Teacher Luna, please give us 5 more problems, and let's see who can work out the answers faster. He felt his position as a math genius was in danger. As you wish, Amy said coldly. Luna had planned to de-escalate the situation. She took a look at Mag, who was very calm, and nodded after hesitating a moment. Then she wrote 5 multiplication problems on the blackboard. Parmer resumed his seat. He looked at the 5 problems on the blackboard, and said to Amy confidently, I'll count to 3 and then we start. The one finishing them faster wins. 1, 64, 42, 72, 48, 63. I've finished, Amy said calmly, looking at the board. Parmer had just counted to 3. Before he could close his mouth and write down the problems, Amy had finished. The classroom fell silent. They didn't know if Amy had got all of them right, but she was unmistakably a lot faster than Parmer. Amy gave the answers before Parmer even started calculating. They all looked to their teacher, waiting for her to tell them the correct answers. Did you just say some random numbers? Parmer asked, incredulous. I have calculated, Amy said seriously, looking at Luna. Luna looked at the board and gave the answers. 64, 42, 72, 48, 63. Amy's answers are correct. Her voice rose a little in astonishment. Of course, these problems were easy to her, but even she had to calculate in her head to know the answers. It seems Amy knows the answers without having to think. Maybe only a genius can calculate this fast. Amy's really amazing. Daphne exclaimed. She had just said what other kids wanted to say. Parmer is incredible, but now it seems Amy is even more incredible than him. Holy moly! I can't play with her anymore. All good grade children are nuts, Ignazio said in fright, shaking his head disappointedly. For a while, Parmer didn't say anything. Then he nodded solemnly. I lose, he said. Father said, win or lose, a man must always act like a man, especially before a woman. Although maybe father only said that to comfort himself because he is often beaten by mother and doesn't dare to hit back, I still think he has a point. Amy nodded. Yes, you lose. Her voice wasn't too proud, but she sounded as if she had seen it coming. Her tone frustrated Parmer even more. She's so incredible. That was many children's only thought about Amy. The shabby little girl has become even cleverer than Parmer. Mag smiled. Our 9 times 9 table is beyond compare. Then he looked at the gentlemanly boy. His face looks familiar, but I can't remember where I've seen him. The bell rang. The children immediately put this entire incident behind them and couldn't wait for Luna to say class dismissed. All right. Class dismissed, she said, not prolonging the class. Right now, Luna had a lot of questions on her mind. She took Amy by the hand and walked out of the classroom. I'm sorry, Mag. Can I ask you a few questions? She said. If you don't mind, can we talk in my office? Mag nodded, smiling. Okay. He had something to ask her too. After they arrived at her office, Luna gave Amy a candy and had her play by herself on a chair nearby. She wasn't able to hold back her questions any longer. How did Amy learn to do those problems so quickly in such a short time? I taught her a multiplication table before, but it has so many terms, she didn't memorize them all. There's no way she can solve those problems so quickly using that multiplication table. I taught her a new multiplication table and a new numeral system. It's much easier, so she could work out those answers so quickly. Mag didn't lie, because he trusted Luna, and there was no need to hide something like this. It would be interesting to see the 9 times 9 table dominate this world. War might be the fastest way to achieve integration, but it would also cause the most problems. It would be much better if culture could promote integration. Luna's eyes lit up immediately. A new numeral system. She had thought Amy had studied harder under Mag these days. If this much easier numeral system really exists, it will be a milestone in the mathematics world. Her hands started shaking with excitement. Mag, is this system universal? She asked solemnly. Mag nodded. Yes, I think so, he said. It has been used in China for thousands of years, so of course it's universal. But it would be impractical to just rely on Luna to spread this system. We need to involve a much larger institution, like the Grey Temple. Teacher Luna, Father is really incredible, Amy said, holding Ugly Duckling in her arms, the look on her face very proud. Mag, I know it's too forward, but can I have a look at this new system of yours? Luna asked earnestly. If you plan to publish it, maybe I can help. My grandfather is one of the educational officials in the Roth Empire. I can't tell you his name, but he is dedicated to spreading knowledge of arithmetics. Our numeral system is too complicated, so not many people have the patience to learn it, and even less have mastered it. In Chaos School, every year only half the children can pass the arithmetic test when they finish their studying in the primary section. If your system is easier and universal, I'm sure he'll be glad to help. Your name will live in the arithmetic history. It was all well and good to be able to live in history, but Mag didn't want to be so conspicuous right now. The name Mag Alex had been a thorn in the flesh of many people in Rodu. If he stuck out now, a lot of people would be provoked. He was a little surprised to find that Luna's grandfather was an educational official. He had thought she was just a lady from a normal noble family. Most of the people in Mag Alex's life had been military men, so he didn't know many officials from other departments. Now that I think about it, the name field does ring a bell. I seem to recall that an old man from a royal banquet was a field. We had a drink together. He could drink a lot. Maybe he and Luna are related. Mag nodded, smiling. Sure. I can show you the numeral system. But can I use the name Mamie instead of mine? It was a perfect chance to advertise his restaurant. If they name such epic-making numeral system and the 9 times 9 table after a restaurant, I wonder what the kids here will think when they study the Mamie table, Mag thought. Luna nodded. Sure, she said. It's too early to talk about this sort of thing. I have to see the system first. Mag nodded. He asked for a pen and paper and wrote down the 9 times 9 table. In order to explain it better, he wrote down the whole 81 terms. Then he explained the decimal system in detail. People here were using the sexagesimal system, and it had more than 1,700 terms, so the multiplication and division of two-digit numbers and more were extremely complicated. One would be considered a mathematics expert here if he or she was able to do the division of three-digit numbers and more. So, before spreading the 9 times 9 table, this complicated system had to be replaced. History has proved that the decimal system invented by the Chinese sages was the simplest and most universal system. This system and the 9 times 9 table together were enough to solve most of the mathematical problems in life. It was an era in which the ancient Chinese dominated the whole world in arithmetic. Luna watched beside Mag, her eyes bright and her mouth wide. She was an arithmetics teacher, and grew up in an arithmetical family. She could see what Amy hadn't seen. Although she couldn't fully understand the decimal system, Mag's simple and ingenious explanation had helped her see the excellence of this system. She saw infinite possibilities in this system and the catchy 9 times 9 table. Mag, I don't know if your system is universal, but you're undoubtedly a genius, Luna said earnestly as she watched Mag put down the pen. Smiling, Mag shook his head. I'm not a genius. I just know a little more than you. He didn't know what effect the wisdom of the ancient sages would have on this world. I'll have it delivered to Rodu as soon as possible. I don't have the ability to verify it or assess its value, but I'm sure it will cause quite a stir in the arithmetic world. And the word Mamie won't be forgotten. Luna found Mag modest and courteous. He's a great cook, and a genius in arithmetic. He would even use the word Mamie to sign such a great discovery. Talk about spoiling a child. Such an interesting and mysterious man. Is there anything he can't do? Amy gazed at Mag, eyes shining. Even Teacher Luna said Dad is a genius. Dad is indeed amazing. Mag nodded, smiling. I don't think they have the concept of thesis or patent in this world, and I don't plan on using this to make money. It will be awesome. He didn't come here to teach the 9 times 9 table. He remembered his mission of finding a magic teacher for Amy. Miss Field, I've come here with Amy to visit you, and I have a question. Can the magic teachers here teach a student outside school hours? Amy is interested in magic, but she's not old enough to be enrolled, so I want to hire a teacher to teach her some basic knowledge about magic. Luna shook her head regretfully. I'm afraid they can't. Teachers here are not allowed to provide paid lessons outside school, or they will be dismissed. Then she took a look at Amy, and added, Amy can study here next year, but she won't be able to get access to magic knowledge until she gets older. After her magic talent is confirmed by a magic teacher, she will be taught with other kids like her. Never thought Mag would come here personally to find a private magic teacher for Amy, thought Luna. I see. Thank you, Miss Field. Mag was a little disappointed, but he was powerless against their rules. His plans had fallen through. Now he had to find another way. Amy is young. There is no need to rush to learn magic. It's very dull, Luna said, smiling at Amy. Amy shook her head. Teacher Luna, I love magic. I think it's very interesting. Mag and Amy stayed in Luna's office for a while before they left. When they walked through the gate, the old man and the orc gaped at them with confusion. They didn't know when they had entered. I have to have it delivered to my grandfather now. It may prove to be an important turning point in his cause of spreading the knowledge of arithmetics. He will be very interested in him. Luna watched Mag leave by the window, excited. Then she strode to the table, picked up the 2 pieces of paper, put them in her pocket carefully, and walked out. Father, are we going back home now? Amy asked as she looked up at Mag, holding his finger. She was in a good mood today. Her song had been praised by the children, and she had beaten Palmer with the 9 times 9 table her father taught her. She didn't feel inferior to them anymore. Mag shook his head. No. Now that we're out here, we should enjoy ourselves. Let's go find lunch. Staying at his restaurant every day was boring, and it was just lunchtime, so he walked towards a pretty busy roasted meat restaurant with Amy. Let me see what this restaurant has to offer. Ugly Duckling had fallen asleep again. Mag had covered it with the towel, so no one would know what was inside the basket unless it cried out. The aroma of the roasted meat tickled their noses the moment they walked in. However, Mag frowned. There is a smell of mutton in that aroma. The spice is too pungent, it smells even stronger than pepper. Father, are we eating roasted meat? Amy's eyes were shining with excitement. She had never had roasted meat before. Mag was hesitating, debating whether to stay or not. The expectant look on Amy's face helped him make up his mind. He nodded. Yes. They seated themselves by a window. This restaurant was quite popular on Aden Square, almost as popular as the Friar Tavern. People always lined up here at dinner time. Even during lunch, the room with over 20 tables was almost full. Mag took a look at the plate on the table nearby. The mutton had been cut into pieces, a little black. On the surface was some black sauce and seasoning. Two customers were enjoying their meat, talking and laughing, seeming pretty satisfied with the food. The sauce is not even on the meat, the timing of the seasoning was wrong, the temperature of the fire was too high, the meat has been overcooked. Did an assistant cook make that? One look at the dish and Mag wanted to criticize it. Smile, I'm an owner of a restaurant now. If I can't control my vicious tongue, I may be recognized, and they may think I came here to look for trouble. Mag calmed himself down, opened the menu, and ordered a plate of mutton and a plate of beef. These were the most expensive ones on the menu, each plate 88 copper coins. Mag lifted an eyebrow. Now I understand the looks on their faces when they see our menu. The cheapest was a set meal for children, 20 copper coins, even cheaper than his egg.